Phoenix Nights. Chapter 630. At the center of the sacred land. The three main spiritual mountains were like pillars piercing through the clouds, emitting a boundless aura of the heavens and earth. The main spirit peak in the center, the ruins, was the ancient sacred peak. On the left and right of the 10,000 ancient sacred peak were two main spiritual peaks occupied by three-star superpowers. The main spiritual peak on the left was the territory of the Mystic True's sacred clan. Mystic True's sacred clan, on the main spiritual peak. In a tranquil, fragrant, and spotless library. Zhao Feng was filled with respect and uneasiness as he looked at the white-haired male in front of him. He was Duan Muqing. Duan Muqing had snow-white hair and his eyes were like the stars. His appearance could be said to be perfect. His skin was white, and his face was like marble. Furthermore, this emperor had a warm aura, and his every action made others feel as if they were bathing in the spring wind. All in all, this was a legendary great emperor who looked perfect and approachable. "You're Zhao Feng? Don't worry, even the Emperor of Death won't be able to harm you in the true martial sacred land." Duan Muqing inspected Zhao Feng with a warm smile. Zhao Feng's emotions started to calm down. Earlier, Duan Muqing had used his Emperor projection to intimidate the kings and force the Death Guards to kneel. The impact of that power on Zhao Feng wasn't small. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng regained his calm and could sense the urgency in the depths of Duan Muqing's eyes. It wasn't hard to imagine. Duan Muqing was desperate to know about the Purple Knight's sacred lord. However, Duan Muqing was extremely elegant and didn't rush Zhao Feng. Instead, he calmed Zhao Feng's emotions. Next, without needing Duan Muqing to ask, Zhao Feng took out the Purple Saint token and started to talk about the Purple Saint ruins. The first time he entered the Purple Saint ruins and the second time. Zhao Feng also mentioned that he had once defended the Purple Saint ruins. Of course, the main point was that Zhao Yufei had been chosen as the successor of the Purple Knight Saint Lord and the current situation of the Purple Saint ruins. When he heard about the dangers the Purple Saint ruins was facing, Duan Muqing found it hard to hide the worry in his heart. "I didn't expect Violet Knight to have a hidden secret realm in the world. Furthermore, 10,000 years after its death, it will receive a descendant of the 10,000 ancient races." Emperor Duanmu sighed. After figuring out the relationship between Zhao Feng and the Purple Knight Holy Master, Duan Muqing's gaze became much warmer. It was as if he was looking at a junior. "Zhao Feng, how did you offend the Emperor of Death? This emperor has the eyes of death, and no one under the mystic light realm dares to say that they can beat him." A solemn expression appeared on Duan Muqing's face. No monarch or martial emperor wouldn't be fearful of the Emperor of Death. Zhao Feng briefly explained his encounter with Grandmaster Yin Kong. He had killed Grandmaster Yin Kong, and the latter had activated a token of death before he died. This was why Zhao Feng was hunted by the pursuit of death. However, Zhao Feng didn't mention anything about the God Eye. The God's Eye only increased the Emperor of Death's determination to get Zhao Feng. "So that's how it is. You activated the pursuit of death when you were protecting the Purple Saint ruins." Admiration and gratitude appeared on Duan Muqing's face. Ever since they met, Zhao Feng's emotions quickly calmed down. His calmness wasn't something a normal genius could do. Duan Muqing didn't see that Zhao Feng had the 9th God's Eye. After all, Duan Muqing wasn't a descendant of one of the 8 great God Eyes. Although he had seen that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was different, he wouldn't have connected it to the God Eyes. The Emperor of Death was already so strong, and the ancestor of the God Eyes was the only one in the universe. Even emperors were extremely far away from them. An hour later, Duan Muqing asked about the cause and effect, as well as some of the details. "Zhao Feng, you've just entered the sacred land. If you want to establish yourself here, you need an identity." Duan Muqing paused for a moment as love appeared in his eyes. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. It was obvious that Emperor Duan Muqing wanted to settle Zhao Feng down and give him an identity. For ordinary people, wanting to enter a holy land or even establish a foothold in a 3-star sect was an unattainable fantasy. However, It was just a question of one sentence for Duan Muqing. What identity would Duan Muqing give him? Zhao Feng started to guess in his heart. How about this? I'll take you in as a core disciple and you'll be able to establish yourself in the mystic true sacred clan. Duan Muqing smiled and said, Core disciple? Zhao Feng's eyes bulged out. He didn't expect this result. Being taken in as a core disciple by an emperor was definitely a turning point in one's life. What? You're not willing? Duan Muqing smiled. This disciple is willing. Zhao Feng immediately performed the proper bow of a disciple. Ever since he started cultivating, Zhao Feng had 2 teachers. The previous 2 teachers had played a huge role in pushing his life forward. Zhao Feng. I'm taking you in as a disciple not only because of Aunt Violet Night, but also because I'm confident in my own judgment. As Duan Muqing smiled faintly, there was a trace of wisdom in his star-like eyes. With his cultivation at the Void God realm, how could he not see through Zhao Feng's body, bloodline, and potential? Simply put, Zhao Feng had the right to be his disciple. If it was a normal genius, Duan Muqing wouldn't take him in as a core disciple even with the Purple Knight's Sacred Lord's relationship. He would at most be an in-name disciple. Zhao Feng, you can stay here for now. I'll be holding a disciple ceremony in a few days, Duan Muqing said. Disciple ceremony? Zhao Feng paused for a moment. An emperor-level expert holding a ceremony to take in a disciple was obviously very eye-catching. However, this didn't seem like Duan Muqing's style. Duan Muqing didn't give him the feeling of being arrogant. He was very calm and low-key. I'll be going to the Tianlu Islands in a few days. Before that, your identity must be made known to the public, Duan Muqing explained. When Zhao Feng heard this, he understood. Duan Muqing was being so high-profile because he wanted Zhao Feng to quickly integrate into the mystic true sacred sect. Most importantly, he wanted to protect Zhao Feng. If others knew that Zhao Feng was Duan Muqing's disciple, they would be wary of him. 3 days later, Duan Muqing held a disciple acceptance ceremony in his residence. This disciple ceremony wasn't purposely publicized. It was targeted at the upper echelons of the sect and some core disciples. However, on the day of the ceremony, many sovereign martial emperors came to participate. As for the other half-step kings and supremacies, there were countless of them. During the ceremony, Zhao Feng became Duan Muqing's disciple. This matter shook the mystic true sacred clan and spread to the other 2 sacred sects and the other 2 sacred sects. During the disciple ceremony, Zhao Feng also met the upper echelon kings of the Golden Mountain sect. The blue-robed king was very friendly to Zhao Feng, like he was his elder. Little friend Zhao, congratulations. White-bearded elderly's face was filled with relief. Zhao Feng only talked to the white-bearded oldly, and told him to send the news to the eternally sealed palace lord. The eternally sealed palace lord was very useful in being able to enter the sacred land. Of course. Oldly nodded solemnly. He knew Zhao Feng's true strength. Under Emperor Duanwu's guidance, Zhao Feng would definitely become stronger. During the ceremony, Zhao Feng also met some core disciples of the Mystic True Sacred Sect. In the 3-star Mystic True Sacred Sect, most core disciples were disciples of emperors. In the Mystic True Sacred Sect, there were at least 7 or 8 emperors. Among them, Great Emperor Duanwu's seniority was extremely high. It's him. 2 of the core disciples stared at Zhao Feng with their mouths open. One of them was a short-haired youth, while the other was a tall and skinny youth. Junior Marshal Brother Jiang, what's wrong? Do you know this Zhao Feng? One of the core disciples said with surprise. The short-haired youth and the tall and skinny youth looked at each other with shock in their eyes. So, these 2 were Jiang Fan and Qin Yilin, who had appeared at the Void Ocean Arena. Zhao Feng seemed to sense them and saw them. Jiang Fan and Qin Yilin left a deep impression on Zhao Feng. This was especially so for Jiang Fan, who had the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. The strength he displayed back at the Void Ocean Arena was terrifying. At that time, Zhao Feng was only at the half-step origin core realm. He probably wouldn't even be able to take one move from Jiang Fan. At this moment in time, Jiang Fan and Qin Yilin were shocked. It's only been a year, but his cultivation has already caught up to mine, and he's even a disciple of an emperor. Jiang Fan couldn't accept this. In the past year, he had only reached the middle stage of the origin core realm after a lot of hard work. In terms of status, he was a core disciple of a 3-star sect. And all of this. It was as if Xiao Feng had only used a ceremony to reach the same level as Jiang Fan. Senior martial brothers. Xiao Feng walked over with a smile and greeted Jiang Fan and Qin Yilin. Jiang Fan and Qin Yilin had unnatural smiles on their faces as they replied to Xiao Feng. Although Xiao Feng's current status was only on the same level as the two of them. But a year ago, the two of them didn't have high hopes for Xiao Feng and thought that there wouldn't be any interaction between them in the future. Therefore, when Xiao Feng made a request, the two of them rejected it. Emperor Gu Luo, your disciple with the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races seems to know Xiao Feng. Emperor Duanwu smiled as he conversed with an elder in ancient robes. Emperor Gu Luo was Jiang Fan's master. This Xiao Feng's bloodline isn't much different from normal bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races. What's more, even I can't see through his eye bloodline. Emperor Gu Luo praised. Normal people couldn't even reach the level of an emperor. Every emperor present congratulated Emperor Duanwu when they saw Xiao Feng. Jiang Fan, the potential of this Xiao Feng's bloodline isn't any weaker than yours. You need to interact with him more in the future. Emperor Gu Luo's voice sounded in Jiang Fan's mind. Disciple understands. Jiang Fan's heart felt like it had broken, and he didn't know what to feel. From what his master said, it seemed like he wanted him to form a good relationship with Xiao Feng. Firstly, Emperor Duanwu's status and strength were slightly higher than his master's. Secondly, in his master's eyes, Xiao Feng's future potential wouldn't be any weaker than his own. Jiang Fan didn't dare doubt any of this. Secondly, he didn't know what fortune Xiao Feng had to catch up to him in just a year. Chapter 631. During the disciple ceremony, Duanwu Qing took back his gaze and started to talk with the emperors present. Elders, I still have something to discuss with all of you during the disciple acceptance ceremony. Duanwu Qing suddenly spoke. The martial monarchs exchanged glances with one another. Some of them seemed to be deep in thought. Emperor Duanwu, is this related to the demigod Forgotten Garden? Emperor Gu Luo stroked his beard and smiled. That's right. Duanwu Qing nodded his head. The spots for the demigod Forgotten Garden have been decided. In principle, the spots won't change. Hearing this, the emperors present all understood Duanwu Qing's intentions. He wanted to get a spot for his disciple in the demigod Forgotten Garden. If it was before the spots were decided, it wouldn't be hard with Duanwu Qing's strength and status. However, the problem was, the spots for the demigod Forgotten Garden had been decided. The spots for the demigod Forgotten Garden are decided internally and publicly. The publicly won spots are announced to the public, so it's hard to interfere with. The only way to change the spots is to replace them. Emperor Gu Luo said deeply. The mystic true sacred clan had a total of 50 spots for the demigod Forgotten Garden. Compared to the peak 2-star Golden Mountain sect, this was already 10 times the gap. However, being a 3-star superpower, the mystic true sacred clan had as many geniuses as there were stars in the sky. They even had bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races. There were at least a few dozen emperors and kings here. Every monarch and great emperor would have a few disciples. Therefore, the competition for the 50 spots was extremely intense. There are 10 spots that have been decided internally. How about this? Emperor Gu Luo soon thought of an idea. The emperors discussed with their divine senses and soon came to a decision. That's the only way. Emperor Duanwu sighed lightly. The spots that had been decided internally were all geniuses with some background. If they wanted to replace one of them, they would definitely offend some people. However, the demigod Forgotten Garden that only appeared once every 500 years was extremely rare. Emperor Duanwu rarely took in disciples. Now that he finally found a genius with a peak bloodline who was related to Ant Purple Knight, he obviously had to help him. Time passed by. The disciple ceremony slowly came to an end. Zhao Feng met many core disciples of the Mystic True's sacred clan during the ceremony. Head disciple Nan Gongxing didn't come. Nan Gongxing has been cultivating the secret techniques of the sacred land. Half a year ago, he reached the half-step king level. Some of the true disciples discussed in low voices. The Nan Gongxing everyone was talking about was the #1 genius of the Mystic True's sacred clan. At the same time, he was also one of the top geniuses in the sacred ground. When mentioning Nan Gongxing, even Jiang Fan, who had a bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, revealed respect. If my cultivation can reach the Great Origin Core realm, I'll be able to fight against half-step Void God realms. Jiang Fan clenched his fists. His bloodline talent was one of the best in the Mystic True's sacred clan. But what could he do? He was only in his 20s and couldn't compare to some of the young geniuses in their 30s. Junior Martial Brother Jiang, don't be discouraged. In the entire sacred land, there were only 10,000 ancient races bloodlines. Your true opponent in the future should be Mengshi of the Thousand Darkness Saint Sect. Qin Yilin reached out and patted his shoulder. In fact, Jiang Fan's 10,000 ancient races bloodline had already surpassed some Great Origin Core realm sovereign lords. There's still 3 months until the demigod Forgotten Garden. I'll definitely become one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land like Senior Martial Brother Qin. Battle intent appeared in Jiang Fan's eyes, and the 10,000 ancient races bloodline in his body seemed to ignite under his will. Jiang Fan had received quite a bit of stimulation from today's disciple ceremony. This was all because of the pressure from Zhao Feng. The change in Jiang Fan's body didn't escape Emperor Guluo's eyes. Emperor Guluo nodded his head. Jiang Fan had a 10,000 ancient races bloodline, so he didn't put much effort into his cultivation. Fanner, I'll personally teach you cultivation for the next 3 months. Emperor Guluo's divine sense voice suddenly sounded. Thank you, Master. Jiang Fan's heart was filled with excitement. His goal was to become one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Only with this kind of strength would he be able to carve out a path for himself in the demigod Forgotten Garden. Emperor Guluo's eyes glanced at Emperor Duanmu, and thought that his disciple had a legendary bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. No matter what, he couldn't lose to Emperor Duanmu's disciple. Half a day later, the disciple ceremony ended. From now on, Zhao Feng was officially Duanmu Qing's core disciple and a member of a 3-star superpower. Zhao Feng understood Duanmu Qing's intentions. Zhao Feng, if everything goes as expected, you'll be able to obtain a spot to enter the demigod Forgotten Garden, but at the same time, you need to be prepared to be challenged. Duanmu Qing spoke before leaving. Demigod Forgotten Garden? Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised and overjoyed. Zhao Feng had talked to some core disciples during the disciple ceremony. He knew that the spots to enter the demigod Forgotten Garden had already been decided. He didn't expect Duanmu Qing to get a spot for him. Thank you, Master. Zhao Feng was grateful. Duanmu Qing definitely had to pay a price to get this spot for him. Because there wasn't just 1 or 2 emperors in a 3-star superpower, and there were dozens of kings as well. Furthermore, there were mystic light realm sacred lords above emperors. Back at his residence, Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged and found it hard to calm down. Ever since he met Duanmu Qing, his life and status had undergone an earth-shattering change. Zhao Feng's gaze turned toward the courtyard outside. The hazy moonlight made the courtyard seem like it was covered in a layer of silver. For some reason, although he was in a 3-star superpower, his thoughts floated toward the azure flower continent. In his mind, the calm and elegant female that was like a goddess from a painting appeared once again. True martial sacred land. Demigod Forgotten Garden. I must grasp this chance. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and closed his eyes to cultivate. After arriving at the true martial sacred land, he had basically completed half of his journey. In the morning of the second day, Zhao Feng, come out! I want to see who you are to take my spot as soon as you enter the sacred clan. A voice full of resentment came from outside the courtyard. Outside the courtyard, some of the experts and geniuses of the mystic true sacred clan stood there and watched. The owner of the voice was a youth with messy hair. His eyes were wide open, and his expression was twisted. Junior Marshal Brothers Wahong, your spot was taken by Zhao Feng? This is rare even in the true martial sacred land. Some of the disciples in the crowd felt sympathetic. In terms of background, Zhuahong's master was a void god realm king with a lot of experience, and was an elder with real power. In terms of cultivation, he wasn't even 30 years old, but he had reached the late-stage small origin core realm. Amidst the chatter, a blue-haired youth walked out from the courtyard. Zhao Feng, you're finally out. Outside, the disciples of the various sects were filled with indignation. You're shameless to steal a spot just because you're a core disciple of an emperor. Most of the people sympathized with the weak side. After all, the spot originally belonged to Zhuahong. I don't dare to go against the decision of the upper echelon. However, I just want to see if this junior martial brother Zhao has the right to take my spot. Zhuahong snickered coldly. What he did today was what his master told him to do. Emperor Duanmu's strength and experience were something that not many people in the clan could be compared to. This was especially so when the Emperor projection descended that day, which raised Emperor Duanmu's fame to a whole new level. However, fighting in the open wasn't possible, but fighting in the dark and scheming was possible. If Zhuahong was able to defeat Zhao Feng, then it would be hard for Emperor Duanmu to obtain a spot for his disciple. Even in a 3-star sect, strength was everything. The sect would not waste a precious quota on an incompetent person. As long as he defeated Zhao Feng. At that time, Zhuahong's master could ask other emperors to settle this matter. Maybe this matter could be brought to the attention of the Grand Supreme Elder who had been living in seclusion. All he needed was a plan. Zhuahong, he only needed a coincidence point. Now, in front of everyone, he issued a challenge to Zhao Feng. This was the first step. Fine, I accept your challenge. Zhao Feng didn't hesitate at all. Yesterday, his master, Duanmu Qing, had warned him. A person who could be respected as a great emperor must have extraordinary wisdom and foresight. A while later, several hundred people had gathered near an ancient arena in the mystic true sacred clan. They had all come to watch. There were also many core disciples present. Senior Marshal Brother Chun and Senior Marshal Brother Nan are both here. Some of the true inheritors in the crowd looked at the two figures in the crowd. Qin Yilin and the other, Senior Brother Nan, stared expressionlessly at the two figures on the dueling platform. Both of their cultivations had reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. Senior Marshal Brother Chun and Senior Marshal Brother Nan are both part of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Apparently, they both challenged half-step void god realms before. Everyone's eyes were filled with respect. At this moment in time, within the arena, Zhao Feng and Zhuahong floated above a mountain. The arena of the mystic true sacred clan was extremely profound. It was like a small dimension that could simulate all sorts of environments, such as mountains, rivers, and forests. This battle was also highly anticipated. There were at least a dozen void god realm divine senses in the air, and there were even emperors. Humph! Everything has been prepared. As long as Zhuahong wins, I'll ask the Grand Elder to judge this. The divine sense of one of the void god realm kings gazed down coldly. Senior Marshal Brother Zhuahong, there's no point in just fighting. Zhao Feng said calmly. What do you mean? Zhuahong paused. Let's make a bet. If you win, I'll give you the spot. Zhao Feng said. Are you serious? If you lose, you'll give me the spot? Zhuahong was overjoyed. He didn't expect it to be so simple. As long as you can last 10 moves against me, it'll be your win. But if you lose, do you want to say something? Zhao Feng said slowly. 10 moves? Zhuahong paused, and the crowd broke out into discussion. Ha! 10 moves? Brat named Zhao, you're too arrogant. It looks like you don't know that the core disciples of three-star sects all have the strength to challenge those stronger than them. Hearing that, Swahong laughed instead of getting angry. Although he was only at the late-stage small origin core realm, he had defeated great origin core realm sovereign lords before. Chapter 632. On the arena of the sacred land. The disciples and experts of the sects were dumbfounded. 10 moves? This Zhao Feng dares to be so arrogant. This brat just became a core disciple of the sacred clan, and Zwahong's cultivation is one rank higher than his. None of the several hundred spectators had high hopes for Zhao Feng. After all, Zwahong was an old core disciple, and he was better than Zhao Feng in every aspect. Furthermore, that brat was arrogant enough to make a bet of 10 moves. What, you don't dare? Zhao Feng smiled faintly. The reason he made the bet was to prove that he had the strength to replace one of the predetermined spots. This way, no one would say anything, and it wouldn't affect the reputation of his master. Why wouldn't I dare? If I lose, I'll apologize to you in person, and I'll stay away from you in the future. Zwahong laughed as victory was within his grasp. He was overjoyed, and he looked at Zhao Feng as if he was looking at an idiot. Honger, don't underestimate your opponent. Zhao Feng's mental energy and bloodline aura aren't normal. Since he's so confident, he most likely has something to rely on. The divine sense of a king appeared in Zwahong's mind. The owner of the voice was Zwahong's master. Disciple understands. Zwahong's heart skipped a beat, and he stopped underestimating Zhao Feng. His master was a void god realm king after all, and he could accurately estimate his opponent's strength. Begin! A half-step void god realm was the judge on the arena. No matter how strong Zhao Feng is, there's no way I can't even last 10 moves. Zwahong's figure flickered as he used a technique from the sacred land. Soaring Cloud Swan. In the next instant, a giant azure and silver figure condensed in the sky like a giant ping. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zwahong's figure merged into the silver and azure ping figure, and sharp wings that were almost 100 yards long crushed toward Zhao Feng. What a profound technique! Zhao Feng was under a huge shadow. His heart was cold, and his skin was aching. Without using his eye bloodline, it was difficult for him to locate Zwahong's true body. Purple lightning wind ring! Zhao Feng let out a soft shout, and under the cover of the sharp shadow wings, he activated the purple destruction tempest. Bo! Bo bo! Zhao Feng was surrounded by a dazzling stream of purple lightning. Frighteningly dazzling purple rings of destruction emitted an aura of destruction that soared into the sky in waves. With the naked eye, rings of purple lightning grew larger and larger as they flew towards the silvery and azure pink silhouettes in the sky. Boom! Crackle! Two sharp and domineering forces collided, and a destructive aura wreaked havoc. Ka-cha! Soon, a crack appeared on the silver and azure rock shadow in the sky under the impact of the waves. As soon as they clashed, the victor was decided. Purple Destruction Tempest? It's actually the inheritance of the Wind Thunder Great Emperor. The divine senses of some kings in the air were slightly surprised. The experts of the true martial sacred land were all knowledgeable, and they soon recognized Zhao Feng's inheritance. Wind Thunder Great Emperor? In the past, he was a legendary existence even among Void God Realm emperors. The 10,000 Lightning sect also has the inheritance of the Wind Thunder Great Emperor, but it's not the best inheritance. The divine senses of the kings started to discuss. Wind Thunder Great Emperor? A martial monarch's divine sense passed by with a sigh. Some of the ancient emperors of the true martial sacred land might have interacted with the Wind Thunder Great Emperor before. Back then, the Wind Thunder Great Emperor had once cultivated in the 10,000 Lightning Great Emperor. At this moment, the Wind Thunder Great Emperor's purple destruction tempest suppressed the ancient inheritance technique of another sacred land. A brat from the outside world actually has the inheritance of a legendary emperor? Zwahong gritted his teeth in the air. Flying Pum Flash! Zwahong suddenly circulated his bloodline power, and the outline of the giant ping in the sky became even more solid. Lightning flashed, and dark clouds blew. Shwa! In the next instant, the giant pung flashed across heaven and earth. It was as if a legendary bird could be seen with the naked eye, and it released an ancient pressure as it screeched through heaven and earth. Zhao Feng felt a strong pressure, and his blood froze. He didn't expect Zhuang's bloodline technique to be so strong. Its battle power was comparable to a great origin core realm sovereign lord. Wind lightning 100 shadows. Zhao Feng roared as a ball of purple lightning appeared around his body. Shwa! 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 In the blink of an eye, the ball of purple lightning split into two and transformed into two purple lightning wind silhouettes. The two figures of purple lightning then quickly split into 2, 4, 8, 16. In the blink of an eye, dozens of purple lightning wind shadows were spread out in an area with a radius of 1 kilometer. The shocking attack of the rock's passing shadow shook the heavens and the earth, shattering the lightning clones. However, Zhao Feng's true body was nowhere to be seen. It was hard to tell which one was real and which one was fake. All of the figures could attack for a short period of time. Shwa! 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 The figures of purple lightning charged towards Zhuang's flying pung flash one after another. Zhuang was enraged, and his body was covered in lightning. Outside the arena, most of the geniuses of the sacred land were stunned. Blade of purple destruction. A dark purple blade of light that was as thin as a cicada's wing suddenly condensed in the hand of one of the figures of purple lightning. An ancient aura of destruction appeared on the surface of the blade. Crack! The blade of violet destruction was dazzling to the extreme, and it expanded explosively to over 30 meters. Wind and thunder rumbled as an aura of destruction poured down, and it slashed the rock's flitting shadow into two. Arg! Zhuang, who had merged into the flying ping flash, harumphed. Shwa! A dark red mark could be seen on his body as the power of destruction entered his body. Even with his powerful bloodline, the wound and the injuries in his body wouldn't be able to heal in a short amount of time. This was the unique property of the intent of destruction, and it had a strong resistance against healing. Not good. Zhao Feng's offense, speed, and inheritance are all stronger than Honger's. The divine sense of a king couldn't help but exclaim. Zhao Feng's blade of purple destruction destroyed Zhuang's bloodline technique and injured the latter. However, Zhao Feng's attack wasn't over yet. Wings of wind and lightning! The purple destruction wings of wind and lightning extended from Zhao Feng's back, and his intent of wind and lightning made him seem like an ancient demon surrounded by wind and lightning. Boom! A terrifying and suffocating purple destruction wind lightning shook the entire dueling stage. Lightning and astral winds filled the sky and interweaved like a storm, emitting an ancient aura of destruction. Break! As Zhao Feng attacked, his speed, offense, and intent of wind and lightning rose to a whole new level. He thrust out his palm, and it was as if he could see a purple destruction wind lightning dragon roaring in the wind. So strong! The spectators outside the arena felt their hearts and bloodlines tremble as they gazed at the blue-haired figure that was like a devil of wind and lightning. No! Zhuang circulated his bloodline power to the maximum, and the wings around him started to crumble. He was sent flying off the arena by the unstoppable purple destruction wind lightning dragon. Plop! When Zhuang landed on the ground, his entire body was scorched black. He wanted to move, but his body was numb, and most of his life force had been destroyed. He couldn't move at all. Senior Marshal Brothers what? A few true disciples helped Zhuang up in shock. Thank you. Zhao Feng walked off the arena under the wary gazes of the spectators. He did indeed win within 10 moves. The half-step Void God Realm judge looked at Zhao Feng weirdly. At the last moment, with the support of the wings of wind and lightning, Zhao Feng's battle power could easily break through the barrier of cultivation and threaten sovereign lords at or above the middle stages of the great origin core realm. Such battle power made most geniuses from the sacred land pale in comparison. This strength is passable, the expressionless senior brother Nan said from the crowd. For someone who was one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land, such strength wasn't surprising. One had to know, many of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land could challenge normal half-step void god realms. On the other hand, Qin Yilin was surprised. He was also one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. However, Qin Yilin had seen Zhao Feng a year ago. At that time, Zhao Feng was only at the half-step origin core realm, and he might not even be able to block one attack from Jiang Fan. Luckily, Jiang Fan isn't here. The strength that Zhao Feng just displayed is already on par with junior martial brother Jiang, Qin Yilin murmured. Jiang Fan had gone to cultivate with his master, Emperor Gu Luo, after Duan Wuqing's disciple ceremony. Right at this moment. Zhao Feng, you did well. Come to master's place. Emperor Duanwu's voice sounded. It was obvious that Emperor Duanwu was paying attention to this battle as well. The other kings couldn't help but sigh. Emperor Duanwu's disciple had such shocking strength right after entering the sacred land. A while later. Master, what can I do for you? Zhao Feng arrived at Duan Wuqing's palace. Zhao Feng, your strength can be ranked in the top 5 or 6 of the mystic true sacred clan's core disciples. However, there's still a gap between you and the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. It's still not enough if you want to gain much from the demigod Forgotten Garden, Duan Wuqing said. Zhao Feng didn't object. He had used 60 to 70% of his purple destruction wind lightning's full power in the battle just now. If a core disciple at the small origin core realm already had such strength, then the great origin core realm geniuses and the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land would be even more immeasurable. I'll give you these 3 things before I leave. They might be of use to you. A wooden box appeared in Duan Wuqing's hand. Zhao Feng took the wooden box and opened it. There were 2 books and a jade bottle inside. Within the jade bottle was a thumb-sized crystal pill. It was oval-shaped and gave off a pure aura that made Zhao Feng feel pressured. This is a crystal pill that can help those at the peak of the small origin core realm break through to the great origin core realm. Your cultivation isn't enough to use this pill, but I've found that your core has started to crystallize. However, I have discovered that the core within your body has already begun to crystallize. If you use this pill in advance, perhaps it will have a good effect, Duan Wuqing said with a smile. Crystal pill? Zhao Feng couldn't help but feel excited. He had heard of the value of this pill. It was priceless even in the Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. Next, his gaze was fixed on the 2 ancient books. One of the books had 4 words written on it, Dark Eye Secret Book. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised. What did this have to do with the Dark Eye incomplete page that he had obtained back then? I got this Dark Eye secret technique from the Emperor of Death. It's related to his core Dark Eye technique. Chapter 633. I got this Dark Eye secret technique from the Emperor of Death, and it's related to his core Dark Eye forbidden technique. Hearing this, Zhao Feng couldn't help but feel disbelief. Duan Wuqing actually had the Emperor of Death's secret technique? That sounded incredible. Of course. Emperors had their own circles, so it wasn't strange for them to trade with each other. The Emperor of Death and Duan Wuqing were both ancient emperors, and their cultivation was close. This was a trade a long time ago, and I paid a huge price for it. However, this Dark Eye secret technique isn't very useful to me. I only traded it back then because I was interested in the Dark Eye of Death. Duan Wuqing sighed. The lifespan of emperors was extremely long, and they could live for tens of thousands of years. With such a long lifespan, these emperors would comprehend all sorts of forbidden techniques in order to gain inspiration. Master, what's the relationship between this Dark Eye secret technique and the Dark Eye of Death? Zhao Feng thought about the Dark Eye incomplete page that he had obtained. Because the Dark Eye incomplete page was incomplete, it only provided some eye bloodline theories for Zhao Feng. Legend: the Dark Eye incomplete page had a total of 9 incomplete pages, and when all 9 were combined, one could cultivate the ultimate Dark Eye of Death. Perhaps only the Emperor of Death was able to cultivate the true Dark Eye of Death in the Tsung Ocean. On the other hand, the Dark Eye Secret Technique is an incomplete version of the Dark Eye of Death, and it doesn't have much to do with offensive techniques. However, it has a more complete description of eye bloodline techniques related to the soul and death. Duan Wuqing answered. Hearing that, Zhao Feng let out a breath. Thinking about it, it was impossible for the Emperor of Death to give away the true Dark Eye of Death. However, the Dark Eye Secret Technique contains many of the Emperor of Death's forbidden techniques, and it's not limited to the Dark Eye of Death. Duan Wuqing looked at Zhao Feng with a solemn expression. Zhao Feng felt grateful in his heart. He understood Duan Wuqing's intentions. Now that Zhao Feng was facing the pursuit of death, they would meet sooner or later. Duan Wuqing gave the Dark Eye Secret Technique to Zhao Feng because he wanted him to understand the Emperor of Death's Dark Eye Secret Technique. He wanted Zhao Feng to comprehend it and find a way to deal with the Emperor of Death. Zhao Feng quietly put away the Dark Eye Manual. Next, his gaze landed on the last ancient book. If this item was placed at the bottom of the wooden box, its value might not be any lower than the Dark Eye Secret Technique. 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique? Zhao Feng picked up the last ancient manual. A nostalgic look appeared on Duan Wuqing's face as he looked at the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique. This is the secret manual of my Duanwu clan. It's a supreme secret manual for cultivating the soul. This divine art might have reached the heaven grade, but it's slightly incomplete. Duan Wuqing's voice was hoarse. Zhao Feng felt something weird. The Duanwu clan and the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique seemed to have touched the depths of Duan Wuqing's heart. My God's spiritual eye specializes in the Tao of the soul. Zhao Feng was very confident. He instinctively flipped open the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique and sent his divine sense into it. When a mysterious surge of mental energy suddenly led Zhao Feng into a vast mental energy world. The contents of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique were all recorded in this mental energy world. This technique can help one break through to the Void God realm, and it can help one's soul change. When cultivated to the late stages, one can create 10,000 thoughts with one thought. It's a supreme technique for cultivating the soul. Duan Wuqing's voice sounded in Zhao Feng's ears. Zhao Feng's consciousness merged into the vast mental energy world, and in a rush, he came into contact with the knowledge of using the soul divine sense. Hearing Duan Wuqing's introduction, Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised. Firstly, the complete 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique had reached the heaven grade. Techniques were split into 4 levels: mortal, spiritual, earth, and heaven. Among them, even in the Azure Flower continent, spiritual grade cultivation techniques were extremely rare. Heaven grade techniques were the highest level of techniques in the world. Secondly, this technique could help one break through to the Void God realm and help one's soul change. Simply put, cultivating this technique could increase one's chances of breaking through to the Void God realm. Other emperors wanted to trade this technique, but I didn't agree. It was shameful to say it, but at the level of a master, he was far from being able to cultivate it to the highest realm of 10,000 transformations with a single thought. Perhaps I'm not very talented in the soul. Duan Wuqing had a complicated expression. He had a special feeling for the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique. Master, why did you give the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique to me? Zhao Feng asked carefully. Duan Wuqing didn't hide anything and told Zhao Feng the reason. 2 reasons. Firstly, your eye bloodline seems to lean towards the Tao of the soul, and even I can't see through it. Maybe you'll be able to cultivate the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique to a level that surpasses mine. Secondly, the Eye of Death's eye intent is in your soul and has seeped into the depths of your soul. I don't specialize in the Tao of the soul, and the intent of an emperor is too strong. If I rush it into the depths of your soul, there might be unpredictable consequences. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised by the first reason. Even the first elder of the Broken Moon clan could see through his talent in the mental energy. Emperor Duanwu probably saw through it even more. However, the second reason surprised Zhao Feng. Master, you mean that cultivating the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique can help me resolve the hidden danger left behind by the Emperor of Death? That's right, Duan Wuqing said in a solemn tone. I can help you now, but I can't help you forever. You'll have to deal with the Emperor of Death yourself. Up until now, Zhao Feng admired Duan Wuqing's wisdom even more. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. Duan Wuqing gave the Dark Eye Secret Technique and the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique to Zhao Feng because he wanted Zhao Feng to use his own power to grow and deal with the pursuit of death. Zhao Feng put the wooden box away and bowed deeply toward Duan Wuqing before leaving. In just a few days after entering the sacred land, Duan Wuqing had high hopes and feelings for Zhao Feng. It wasn't like a pair of master and disciple who had just met for a short time. All of this. Zhao Feng remembered the gratitude in his heart. Back at his residence, Zhao Feng immediately took out the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique and started to comprehend it. His consciousness quickly entered the vast spiritual world and devoured all the theories and knowledge of the soul path as if he was thirsty for it. An hour later, Zhao Feng had a comprehensive understanding of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique. The 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique didn't just simply cultivate the divine sense of the soul. It contained many soul Tao techniques and focused on the usage of soul power. The Tao of the Soul. The Tao of the Soul had always been a forbidden area for cultivation. Only when one reached the void God realm would their soul transform and allow them to truly use the power of the soul. However, this was only the entrance to the Tao of the Soul. The soul was too mysterious and dangerous. It was like a forbidden area, and its origin was hard to trace. One of the special features of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique is that it can split one's mind into many parts. One thought can be split into 2, 10, 100, and 1,000. This technique allows the user to use soul power to an unimaginable level. Zhao Feng sighed in amazement at the first glance. Normal people wouldn't be able to multitask. However, the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique was even more unique. The split thoughts had a certain degree of independence, and could do their own things without affecting each other much. Of course, the effects of the split thoughts would be greatly reduced. For example, if he could reach the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique, he would be able to split his thoughts into 2. This meant that Zhao Feng could split his consciousness into 2. One would cultivate the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique, and the other would cultivate the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance. This kind of division of thoughts was beyond the ordinary multitasking. Of course, this was the ideal state of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique. In reality, it was difficult to make 2 separate thoughts. Let's try. Zhao Feng was slightly excited in his heart. He started to cultivate according to the core technique of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique. For now, Zhao Feng didn't have a divine sense. He only had his soul sense. He had to be at least at the half-step king realm to have a divine sense. However, soul sense and divine sense were the same senses, and they worked the same way. While cultivating, Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye was the core of his soul power, and it unknowingly joined in. Half a day later. It doesn't seem hard. Zhao Feng's soul sense easily split into 2. Thinking back, Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye could easily control an army of beasts, and he could command them as if they were a god. However, normal beast tamers controlled an army of beasts by controlling the beast king and using mental energy techniques to give orders to the entire army. Some special eye bloodlines of the mental energy element were born with this ability. Zhao Feng was an exception. His God's spiritual eye could easily control an army of beasts a long time ago. 1 thought into 10. On the second day, Zhao Feng's soul sense easily split into 10. Shwa! Shwa! As he circulated the 10,000 Divine Thoughts Technique, Zhao Feng's soul sense shot through the air. In the next instant, in the sky above the main spiritual peak, 3 flying beasts were locked down by a soul sense. The 3 beasts were all comparable to the true spirit realm, but they were locked down by 3 soul senses for a breath or 2. Then, with a thought from Zhao Feng, a few wooden barrels floated into the air. This is the power of mental energy. Zhao Feng felt good. His God's spiritual eye was a mental energy treasure. And now, he had found the key to it, the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique. In just a short 2 days, Zhao Feng's soul sense could split into 10. Theoretically, each of these 10 strands of will could control and influence a group of demonic beasts. Each soul sense could launch a mental energy attack or use spiritual sense to communicate. As expected of a heaven-grade soul Dao technique. It's heaven-defying, Zhao Feng praised. He didn't know how terrifying his cultivation speed was. Back when Duanmu Qing was at the origin core realm, he had used an entire 10 years to split one thought into 10. On the other hand, Zhao Feng didn't feel anything and acted as if it was natural. His God's spiritual eye was heaven-defying in terms of the soul. It was like a fish that was born in the water and had the ability to survive in it. On this day, Zhao Feng was just about to study the Dark Eye Secret technique. Zhao Feng, I'm about to leave the sacred land and head to the Tianlu Islands. Don't leave the sacred land in this period of time. If you have any requests, you can make them. Chapter 634. Zhao Feng knew that Duanmu Qing wanted to go to the Purple Saint ruins, which was great news for Zhao Yufei. He thought about it. Now that he was in the sacred land, he didn't need to worry about anything. All he needed to do was cultivate. The only thing he needed to do was to settle the people on the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. When will Master return? Zhao Feng asked. At least 1 or 2 months, and at most half a year. The pressure from the Purple Saint ruins isn't hard to deal with, but the restoration of the ruins and the inheritance of the space will take some time, Duanmu Qing answered. Before he left, Duanmu Qing sent a piece of information into Zhao Feng's mind. The information was about the demigod Forgotten Garden. Although the demigod Forgotten Garden only opened once every 500 years, the history of the true martial sacred land was extremely long. The 2 3-star sects and 3 2-star sects had a rough understanding of the demigod Forgotten Garden after many explorations. The demigod Forgotten Garden is located in the 10,000 ancient sacred peak, and the age limit is 50. There are many restrictions in the demigod Forgotten Garden, and the structure of the space is different from the outside world. Zhao Feng looked through the information. The demigod Forgotten Garden would only open in 2 to 3 months. Right now, Zhao Feng's focus was on cultivation, so he didn't look into the information right now. I'll settle the people on the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship first. Zhao Feng got up and walked out of the courtyard. Being a core disciple of a 3-star power, Zhao Feng could easily walk around the sacred land with his current identity. However, he was still very cautious, because the danger of death that originated from his soul was very close. There should be 4 Death Spirit Lords and 36 Death Guards under the Emperor of Death stationed in the true martial sacred land. He walked out of the courtyard. Zhao Feng took out his core disciple token and told a messenger to send a letter to the Golden Mountain sect. Less than an hour later, the white-bearded oldly of the Golden Mountain sect received a letter. Opening the envelope, a strand of will burst out from it, and Zhao Feng's voice sounded. Elderly, there's something I need your help with. The white-bearded elderly was taken aback. Only those below the Void God realm could imprint their mental energy onto the letter. Moreover, the voice came from Zhao Feng on the other end. After cultivating the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique, Zhao Feng's mind power could be divided into many parts. He imprinted a wisp of psychic awareness on the envelope. Even if it was sent far away, it would still be connected to his soul. However, this was only the basic application of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique. Through this letter, Zhao Feng could get in touch with the white-bearded oldly within a short period of time, and there was no need for other communication tools. Fellow Taoist Zhao, don't worry. I'll report this matter to the higher-ups of the sect, and it won't be a problem to arrange for some outer members to stay in the sect, white-bearded oldly said. On the same day, the higher-ups of the Golden Mountain sect, the blue-robed king, Kuan Yin Yun, took in the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship and the others. The next day, on the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship, Li Yenya, Lulan Jishui, and company became outer members of the Golden Mountain sect. Zhao Feng was finally able to relax. The true martial sacred land wouldn't be his final destination. In the future, he would need a ship when he headed to the floating dream spiritual zone. After the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship was settled, Zhao Feng started to cultivate in seclusion. Now, there were only 3 directions to his cultivation. First, the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance. Now that he had comprehended the Purple Wind Lightning, Zhao Feng could start to cultivate the Scarlet Wind Lightning. Second, the Tao of Soul, the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique. It could be said that the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique had surpassed the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance. Cultivating this technique would help Zhao Feng dissolve the Eye of Death intent in the depths of his soul. Thirdly, he would cultivate the Dark Eyes of Death in terms of eye bloodline techniques. 3 directions. Zhao Feng placed the most importance on the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique. The 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique allowed Zhao Feng's soul to become stronger, and his usage of soul power reached a whole new level. However, as Zhao Feng could turn one thought into 10, the progress of the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique slowed down. In theory, one had to be at least at the Void God realm in order to reach a higher level. It was already a miracle that Zhao Feng could turn one thought into 10 so quickly. He had surpassed some of the experts of the Duanmu family. The next day, Zhao Feng started to read the Dark Eye Secret technique. With one look, Zhao Feng was completely entranced, and his consciousness was completely submerged. The Dark Eye Secret technique contained the theories of many Death Eye bloodline techniques that the Emperor of Death had created. Although this secret technique didn't have much information on the core of the ultimate Dark Eye of Death, there were many supplementary and powerful controlling eye bloodline techniques recorded in it. These eye bloodline techniques all lean towards the soul and death element. The Emperor of Death is quite cunning. The true offensive forbidden eye bloodline techniques don't have any core knowledge. Zhao Feng first read through it. It took him an entire day and night before he could finish reading through the entire book. One had to know that Zhao Feng's mental energy consciousness was extremely strong, and he had a photographic memory as well as a powerful ability to comprehend and learn. The Dark Eye Secret technique gave Zhao Feng a better understanding of eye bloodline techniques of death and the soul. What was even more amazing was that the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique was a peerless technique for cultivating the divine sense of the soul Tao, and it could be used together with the Dark Eye Secret technique. The 2 techniques had something in common, which was the usage of soul power. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had comprehended the Dark Eye incomplete page before, so he had a certain foundation. With this as a foundation, Zhao Feng's understanding of the Dark Eye Secret technique was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Zhao Feng's consciousness was completely immersed in the Dark Eye Secret technique as he learned many forbidden eye bloodline techniques. Because many of the eye bloodline techniques in the Dark Eye Secret technique were related to the Tao of Death, Zhao Feng couldn't directly learn most of them. On the other hand, Zhao Feng was able to learn some simple eye bloodline techniques as soon as he learned them. Over the past half a month, Zhao Feng had also developed some new eye bloodline techniques, most of which were related to the soul. However, due to the Emperor of Death's restrictions on the Dark Eye Secret technique, most of these eye bloodline techniques were limited to support and control techniques. Soul chains! A surge of mental energy surged from Zhao Feng's left eye. In the next instant, within the 10,000 Ghosts Pearl, the skeletal division leader howled as its body froze. Wisps of transparent purple lightning wrapped around the skeletal division leader's body. In reality, the thing that was bound was the skeletal division leader's soul. The transparent purple lightning was in the form of a soul, and it bound the target's soul. I've only used 50% of my power, and you can't fight back at all. Zhao Feng was slightly dissatisfied and took back his eye bloodline power. The purple lightning bound the skeletal division leader for several breaths before it broke free. Apart from the soul chains, Zhao Feng had also comprehended more than a dozen eye bloodline techniques, most of which were related to the soul. Dark Heart Seal, Mental Energy Spike, Eye of Nightmare, Soul Searching Technique, Demonic Eye Invasion. The principles of eye bloodline techniques appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Although some eye bloodline techniques were related to the Tao of Death, Zhao Feng could still use them with other elements. After all, his eye bloodline power could be switched, which was an advantage that other eye bloodlines didn't have. Among them, the one that Zhao Feng comprehended the most was the Dark Heart Seal, which was based on his previous Dark Heart Seed. In the past, the Dark Heart Seed would merge the seed of eye bloodline power into the target's soul and threaten their life, thus enslaving them. However, the Dark Heart Seed's control was limited and couldn't directly control the target's thoughts. If the target didn't care about their life, then the Dark Heart Seed would be useless. Or even if the target's life was threatened, he would still be disloyal and might counterattack at any time. The risk was higher. The Dark Heart Seal uses a powerful Soul Dao technique to imprint one's eye bloodline power into the depths of the target's soul and change the target's thoughts. Those imprinted by the Dark Heart Seal will submit from the bottom of their soul. It's very difficult to resist. Zhao Feng knew how terrifying this technique was. The Dark Heart Seal could be said to be a slave imprint. Once struck, the target's thoughts would be twisted, and they would become a true slave, submitting to their master. For example, the skeletal division leader's life was threatened by the Dark Heart Seed, and under Xiao Feng's control, it often had thoughts of betrayal. However, if the forbidden Dark Heart Seal was planted in it, the skeletal division leader's mind would become Xiao Feng's slave, and it wouldn't have any thoughts of betraying him. The Dark Heart Seal was a forbidden technique used to enslave beings. Of course, there were limits to this technique. Firstly, the success rate of using the Dark Heart Seal wasn't high, and it was related to the difference in soul. Under many situations, if the target's will was too strong, it would fail and cause the target's soul or thoughts to crumble. Of course, the success rate was also related to one's control. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye had comprehended the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, and he could split his thoughts into many. Furthermore, Zhao Feng thought of a situation where he could split his thoughts into many and enslave many weaker beings at once. Apart from the low success rate, the Dark Heart Seed also expended a lot of eye bloodline power. The amount of energy expended was related to the difference in soul and control. Dark Heart Seal! Zhao Feng's body radiated a cold undulation of eye bloodline power that made one's soul tremble. Shwa! In the next instant, a bird at the true spirit realm several miles away froze. A breath or two later. So! The bird at the true spirit realm flapped its wings and landed on Zhao Feng's shoulder with respect. And, in terms of consciousness, it's completely enslaved. Even if I'm only at the ascended realm, it'll still submit to me. Zhao Feng nodded his head. This was the 10th time he had tried to use the Dark Heart Seal. Apart from the first time, which was a technical mistake, the other 9 times had all succeeded. Zhao Feng's control of the God's spiritual eye was too strong. Furthermore, he had cultivated the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, and his control of soul power had reached a new level. Next, Zhao Feng tried to split his thoughts into 10 and control the nearby beasts and insects at the same time. The cultivation of the targets weren't high, but most of the normal beings in the sacred land were at the ascended realm or above. A few breaths passed. 7 or 8 of the 10 targets were at the ascended realm and were successfully enslaved by Zhao Feng. The other 2 failures were due to him multitasking. If Zhao Feng could cultivate the Dark Heart Seal and the 10,000 divine thoughts technique to a higher level, he would be able to increase his success rate. Within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl, the skeletal division leader couldn't help but feel fear when it saw Zhao Feng's new eye bloodline technique. Those that were controlled by the Dark Heart Seal were truly enslaved and became like puppets. Chapter 635. Zhao Feng didn't use the Dark Heart Seal on the skeletal division leader. There were pros and cons to the Dark Heart Seal, which enslaved the target. The advantage was that the target's mind and soul would completely submit to him, and there would be no worries. The bad thing was that the enslaved target would be like a puppet, and their thoughts would be restricted, which would affect their growth. It was like how a civilization's thoughts would be frozen, and their comprehension would be limited. So, Zhao Feng didn't use the Dark Heart seal on the skeletal division leader. A cunning skeletal division leader was obviously more useful than a puppet that only knew how to listen to orders. Furthermore, the skeletal division leader couldn't pose a threat to Zhao Feng right now. The Dark Heart seed in its soul could decide its life and death with just a thought. After comprehending more than a dozen new eye bloodline techniques, Zhao Feng didn't end his seclusion. There's still 2 months left. I need to consolidate my strength. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. He put the dark eye of death aside for now. Next, he focused on the 10,000 divine thoughts technique and tried to comprehend the scarlet wind lightning. At the same time, he would enter the ancient dream realm every couple of days. Within the ancient dream realm, every time Zhao Feng entered, he could stay for a long period of time. He had obtained an ocean amount of ancient dream realm aura, and it was constantly being absorbed by his bloodline and eye bloodline. Especially, the ancient dream realm aura combined with the 10,000 divine thoughts technique could strengthen one's soul. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's soul became stronger and more condensed. Another half a month passed. Zhao Feng's 10,000 divine thoughts technique could split his thoughts into 20 parts, and the effect of strengthening his soul and spiritual sense increased day by day. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng's soul had reached the peak Great Origin Core realm, just below half-step Void God realms. His improvement could be described as traveling 1,000 miles in a day. The God's spiritual eye was Zhao Feng's soul dimension treasure. The 10,000 divine thoughts technique was a key, and the ancient dream realm aura was an accelerator. At this rate, my soul will be strengthened to the level of a half-step king in 2 months. Zhao Feng was looking forward to it. The 10,000 divine thoughts technique was indeed worthy of being a heaven-grade technique. It could help increase one's chances of breaking through to the Void God realm. Some great emperors wanted to trade for this art, but Duan Muqing did not agree. Right now, Zhao Feng's soul was condensed, second only to half-step kings. However, in terms of soul power utilization and control, it far surpassed half-step kings. In this way, the will of a half-step king would not pose much of a threat to Zhao Feng. On this day, Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm again. On this ancient and desolate land, Zhao Feng's steps were laborious as he walked slowly. Now, he had entered the ancient dream realm not only to obtain the ancient dream realm's aura, but also to explore this space. Last time, I took 4 or 5 steps. This time, I'll enter at the same spot. Zhao Feng paid attention to every single detail. Every time Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm, he would appear at the same spot. In front of him was a patch of grass. I still have to walk a few thousand more steps to reach the grass. Zhao Feng took 7 or 8 steps and stood there for a while, absorbing the ancient dream realm aura. Before leaving, Zhao Feng looked into the distance. The meadow in the distance was his first target. Next was the river in the distance. Right at this moment, Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye saw an ancient bird in the sky. It was around 4 to 5 feet long, and it spread its wings. What a terrifying aura! Zhao Feng's body and soul felt the powerful aura of an ancient Yao spirit. The Yao spirit aura from the Yao bird was thousands of times stronger than the Yao birds of the future. The Yao bird seemed to sense Zhao Feng's existence, and its scarlet-red eyes flashed. Boom! Zhao Feng's body shook, and he felt as if he was facing the pressure of a Void God realm king. Retreat! Zhao Feng felt a great danger and returned from the ancient dream realm. Within the room, Zhao Feng's back was drenched in cold sweat. The aura of a Yao bird in the ancient dream realm was already so terrifying. He could only barely walk in that place, and he had no way of fighting back against such a being. This exploration gave Zhao Feng a warning. There were opportunities and dangers in the ancient dream realm. It could be predicted that there would definitely be an extremely powerful race in that ancient land. Close to 2 months later, Zhao Feng stopped comprehending and focused on cultivating. The core within his body showed signs of crystallization. At this moment, Zhao Feng finally took out the third item from the wooden box, crystal pill. Before leaving, Duan Muqing had given Zhao Feng 3 items. Amongst them, the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique and the Dark Eye Secret technique gave Zhao Feng a lot of benefits. This is a crystal pill that can help peak small origin core realms break through to the great origin core realm. Originally, your cultivation wasn't enough to use this pill. However, I've found that the core within your body has started to crystallize, so it might have a good effect on you. Duan Muqing's words appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Normally speaking, only peak small origin core realms breaking through to the great origin core realm could use the crystal pill. Otherwise, normal middle stage and late stage small origin core realms probably wouldn't be able to absorb the full power of the pill. However, being a Void God Realm Emperor, Duan Muqing's eyes were extremely sharp. Not only could he see that Zhao Feng's state of existence had reached the limits of the great origin core realm, he could also see that the core within his body had started to crystallize. Therefore, Zhao Feng could use this pill. I wonder how effective the crystal pill is. Zhao Feng swallowed the crystal-like pill in his mouth. The crystal pill didn't show any signs of melting after entering his body, unlike other spiritual pills. Zhao Feng circulated his true yuan into the crystal pill and started to absorb the pure power within. The power of the crystal pill was pure and comparable to the crystal core of a great origin core realm. The power of the crystal pill turned into waves that circulated through Zhao Feng's meridians and entered his core. If it were a normal origin core realm, their meridians and core wouldn't be able to handle this power. However, Zhao Feng was extremely relaxed. His state of existence had reached the limits of the great origin core realm, and it was even close to the Void God realm. Even half-step Void God realms didn't have the same state of existence as Zhao Feng. On the other hand, a portion of his core had already crystallized. As long as he wasn't in a rush, he could handle the power of the crystal pill. Time passed by. The core within Zhao Feng's body became stronger and stronger, and the crystallization became more and more obvious. Another 2 months passed by quickly. Zhao Feng completely absorbed the power of the crystal pill. During this period of time, Zhao Feng didn't even enter the ancient dream realm because he was wary of the ferocious bird. Luckily, with the help of the crystal pill, the core within Zhao Feng's body had crystallized. The size of the core had also reached the late-stage small origin core realm. The strength of the core within my body is comparable to the great origin core realm in terms of quality. The only difference is the size. Zhao Feng comprehended quietly. His current cultivation was at least at the late-stage small origin core realm. The great origin core realm was no longer a barrier for him. This was because his core had crystallized and become a crystal core. As long as he accumulated enough crystal cores, he would be able to break through to the great origin core realm. The demigod Forgotten Garden will open in a few days. Zhao Feng let out a long breath. The last few days. He planned to enter the ancient dream realm once more and condense the aura of his core. After all, he had used external help to break through to the late-stage small origin core realm. This time, Zhao Feng was extremely careful when he entered the ancient dream realm. Shua! Zhao Feng stood on the desolate ground. The Yao bird he met last time didn't appear. Zhao Feng absorbed a large amount of aura from the ancient dream realm and merged it into the crystal core within his body to consolidate his cultivation. At the same time, as the opening of the demigod Forgotten Garden approached, the geniuses of the true martial sacred land were all rubbing their fists and getting ready. Mystic True's sacred clan, within Emperor Guluo's palace. Late-stage small origin core realm, success. Jiang Fan's face was slightly red, and he was full of fighting spirit. Not bad. I used the power of the Nihility God realm to protect you and let you successfully absorb the power of the crystal level pill. Emperor Guluo praised. Over the past several months, Jiang Fan's strength had increased by leaps and bounds under his supervision. My 10,000 ancient races bloodline and cultivation have both increased. My strength should be able to challenge the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Jiang Fan's confidence rose. The bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races had limitless potential to break through to the next realm. For example, he was at the late-stage small origin core realm, and his strength could challenge late-stage great origin core realms. Humph, that Zhao Feng! Jiang Fan was very happy. He had broken through so quickly that Zhao Feng definitely couldn't catch up. Main spiritual peak, Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan, in a deathly silent underground secret hall. According to the agreement, my master, the Scarlet Demonic Emperor, successfully obtained a spot for you, and he paid a heavy price for it. The figure of a black-scaled male could be faintly seen within the faint black ball of light. If Zhao Feng was present, he would recognize this king of the demonic Dao as Tu Wanli, who had killed his way into the Golden Mountain clan. A warm youth stood in front of Tu Wanli. Thank you, Scarlet Demonic Emperor. My master, the Emperor of Death, will soon come out of seclusion, and I will reward you greatly. The warm youth had a warm expression. Hearing that, Tu Wanli's heart shook. The Emperor of Death was a legendary emperor, and his name shook the three spiritual zones of the Sun Ocean. Apart from mystic light realm sacred lords, no one in this world would dare to say that they could suppress the Emperor of Death. We're only responsible for obtaining a spot for you. As for killing that Zhao Feng, that has nothing to do with us. Hee, aren't you afraid of Emperor Duanmu taking revenge? Tu Wanli laughed weirdly. Although the Emperor of Death was strong, Emperor Duanmu wasn't easy to deal with, especially since this was the territory of the true martial sacred land. As long as we can enter the demigod Forgotten Garden, no one will be able to save Zhao Feng. Coincidentally, Emperor Duanmu is out right now. This is a great opportunity. The warm youth's smile was still warm, but it contained a coldness that could pierce one's soul. Zhezhe. Don't be too arrogant. Many of the geniuses that enter the demigod Forgotten Garden are core disciples of emperors. That Nan Gongxing and Meng Shi are both stronger than half-step kings. Your death guards probably won't even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. Chapter 636. Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan. On the peak of the main spiritual peak, there was a bamboo forest covered in purple mist. Sheer, although you have a legendary bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, it's not a battle-type bloodline. If you fight head-on with Nan Gongxing, your chances of winning are less than 50%. A faintly discernible voice came from a bamboo house. A faint fragrance rose from within the bamboo room. A peerlessly beautiful and flawless young girl in a pleated blue dress stood prettily on the spot. Her eyes were illusory like stars, and they were misty like a dream. Her jet black hair lay on the ground without a speck of dust, and she was like a celestial maiden that had descended into the world. Humph! Although Nan Gongxing is the top genius of the sacred land, he's suffered a few times in front of me. Meng Shi gently stroked the waterfall of her hair. Her starry eyes were like crescent moons, as if she wasn't willing to accept this. A silver-haired figure with an empty aura sat in front of her. It was impossible to see whether the silver-haired figure was male or female. He was extremely simple, but he seemed to be a ball of air. Hee, you're the most talented disciple I've ever had. How could I not prepare for the demigod Forgotten Garden once every 500 years? The empty figure slowly opened his hand. Shwa! A special violet Qilin jade horn fell into Meng Shi's hand. This is... Meng Shi was slightly surprised. The horn contained a profound mental energy aura, but it wasn't a weapon. With this, your strength will be almost unparalleled in the demigod Forgotten Garden. Even Nan Gongxing will have to fear you. The silver-haired figure smiled faintly. The morning of the second day, Mystic True's sacred clan. On a large arena on the main spiritual peak, several half-step void god realms clashed together. Three of them formed a group, a middle-aged man with a mustache, a cold youth, and a female in a green dress. On the other side was an arrogant youth in black clothes. He had one hand behind his back and released a bright silver light as he suppressed three half-step void god realms by himself. There were many spectators outside the arena. There were a few core disciples, a few kings, and one emperor. This Nan Gongxing can suppress three half-step void god realms by himself, and he's doing it so easily. The true inheritors below the stage were all alarmed. What a freak! Nangongxing, the top core disciple of the mystic true sacred clan. Meanwhile, apart from Mengxi, who had the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, no other genius had been able to last more than 10 moves against him. Bang! On the arena, the three half-step king intents suddenly condensed together and pressed toward Nangongxing. Shaochen felt a tremor in his soul. The surrounding essence energy seemed to freeze. His thoughts were suppressed to the point that they could not move. The three half-step kings were merged into one. The true inheritors below the stage felt their hearts palpitate as they felt suffocated. Even if Nangongxing was a half-step king, it would be hard for him to deal with the combined attack of three half-step king intents. Break! The mystic silver light around Nangongxing's body became dazzling, and his half-step king intent started to rise. Boom! An explosion sounded in the soul dimension, and a powerful invisible great god's magnificent power pierced through the physical world and the spiritual world. At that instant, the formation on the stage shuddered and dimmed. King Will! Everyone broke into an uproar. Only one of the emperors had a gratified expression. Bam! 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 The bodies of the three half-step kings shook as they were sent flying by the powerful king intent, and blood leaked out of their mouths. King intent? Could Nangongxing have already become a king? No! His cultivation has stopped at the half-step king rank, but his soul has completed its evolution, and he has formed true void god realm king intent. Discussion broke out below the arena. At this moment, many experts and geniuses looked at Nangongxing with admiration and respect. After forming complete king intent, there was no longer any bottleneck for Nangongxing to reach the void god realm. Boom! The new king intent broke through the clouds and merged into the void, summoning the power of the universe. Nangongxing had become one with heaven and earth, and he had reached the ideal level of becoming one with the heavens. From then on, his intent contained the unstoppable magnificent power of a king that could instantly kill normal origin core realms. A new king intent! Could it be that the sacred land is going to give birth to another king? Many void god realm kings and even some emperors from the true martial sacred land arrived with their divine senses. However, their hearts shook when they found that the new king intent came from a junior genius of the sacred land. Nangongxing is only 30 or so years old, but he's already formed king intent. As expected of the number one genius of the sacred land. He has both the spatial spiritual body and the heaven spiritual body, two of the strongest bodies in the world. Some kings sighed and sighed. Normal experts would spend 100 years or even several hundred years to become a void god realm king. However, Nangongxing's talent was indeed top tier. The cultivation bodies were split into mortal, spiritual, earth, and heaven. Normal cultivators only had spiritual bodies. Back at the Guanjuan Palace, Zhao Feng and company only had half-spiritual bodies and normal spiritual bodies. Earth's spiritual bodies were already very rare. However, Nangongxing had the highest heaven spiritual body. On top of that, he also had a unique spatial spiritual body bloodline. The spatial spiritual body was extremely compatible with space and heaven and earth. Normal people couldn't inherit it, and it was a random bloodline. This made Nangongxing one of the top talents in the sacred land. Only the other 10,000 ancient races' bloodlines could be compared to him. Within the courtyard, Zhao Feng opened his eyes and suddenly felt the new king intent spread across the main spiritual peak. He's Nangongxing? Zhao Feng's mental energy intent turned into 20 to 30 and shot through the air. Over the past couple days, Zhao Feng absorbed a large amount of the ancient dream realm aura to consolidate his cultivation. However, he had just broken through not long ago, and he had already witnessed the heroic appearance of the number one genius of the sacred land. King Intent. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. In front of this intent, which merged with the power of heaven and earth, everything else seemed minuscule. After all, this was a spiritual sacred land, a sacred land of the ocean. The geniuses of the 10 sacred lands were led by Nangongxing, and there was the Sacred Dream faction fighting against each other. Nangongxing represented the Mystic True Sacred Clan, which was backed by the 3-star Mystic True Sacred Clan. Mengxi represented the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan, which was backed by the 3-star Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan. After witnessing Nangongxing's strength, Zhao Feng could imagine that Mengxi, who supposedly had the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, wouldn't be weak either. Soon, the day of the demigod Forgotten Garden opening approached. The core disciples that were in seclusion all came out. The 10 geniuses of the sacred land all appeared, and they had all made significant improvements. At this moment, Zhao Feng also stopped cultivating and started to look at the information regarding the demigod Forgotten Garden. The demigod Forgotten Garden sounded like a garden. In reality, the demigod Forgotten Garden itself was a secret dimension with its own heaven and earth system. It was definitely on a much higher level than the Purple Saint ruins. After all, the Purple Saint ruins that Zhao Feng saw had already deteriorated and wasn't even 1/10 of its peak. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao. A voice sounded from outside the courtyard. Hearing that, Zhao Feng's spiritual sense instantly spread out and saw a Sacred Clan disciple. This Sacred Clan disciple was a youth wearing a green robe and seemed rather low-key. Senior Marshal Brother Dong. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and walked out of the courtyard. He had met many core disciples at the disciple recruitment ceremony last time. This senior martial brother Dong was called Dong Wenjian, and he was one of them. More importantly, this Dong Wenjian was an unnamed disciple of Duan Muqing. His father was a mid-level half-step king in the sect. Back then, Great Emperor Duanmu had accepted Dong Wenjian as an unnamed disciple because he was touched by the latter's father's efforts. Dong Wenjian's talent was only average amongst the geniuses of the sacred land. Usually, Duan Muqing would spend most of his time in seclusion, and he would go into seclusion for several years at a time. Therefore, Duan Muqing didn't have many opportunities to teach Dong Wenjian. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, the demigod Forgotten Garden will open in 3 days. Master is outside, so how are your preparations going? Dong Wenjian said passionately. Both of them were disciples of an emperor. One was a core disciple, and the other was an unnamed disciple. Although there was a difference in status, they were still from the same sect. Zhao Feng didn't have anyone he was familiar with in the Sacred Clan, so he could only walk with Dong Wenjian. I've made some progress in seclusion this time. I might not be able to fight against the 10 geniuses of the Sacred Land, but at least I won't embarrass Master. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and was quite humble. Dong Wenjian looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated gaze, which was filled with jealousy and wariness. Although they were both disciples of an emperor, the difference in treatment between them was huge. Dong Wenjian had earned his spot in the demigod Forgotten Garden through his own hard work. He was 35 this year, and his cultivation had reached the peak small origin core realm. His strength wasn't even close to the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. However, Dong Wenjian couldn't help but admire Zhao Feng's talent and strength. Zhao Feng was only in his 20s, 23 at most, but his cultivation and strength were already astonishing. Dong Wenjian had also seen how Zhao Feng defeated Zhuahong in 10 moves. Dong Wenjian knew that he wouldn't be able to last more than 30 moves in front of Zhao Feng. He wanted to see it this time. Zhao Feng's cultivation had broken through to the late-stage small origin core realm, and the aura within his body gave Dong Wenjian a lot of pressure. On the same day, Zhao Feng and Dong Wenjian talked to each other in the sacred land. There were only 2 goals. One was to exchange information about the demigod Forgotten Garden. The demigod Forgotten Garden had existed for so many years, and the information that the emperors had was different. Some great emperors might have even more complete information on them. For example, Emperor Duanmu was always in seclusion and kept a low profile. The information he had wouldn't be bad, but it definitely wouldn't be complete. There was also another goal. If they came from the same force, they could help each other when they entered the demigod Forgotten Garden. Because of this, Dong Wenjian went around to befriend some core disciples. After all, There were 2 sacred clans and 33 two-star sects that entered the demigod-forgotten garden. It was normal for geniuses of the sacred land to fight in the demigod-forgotten garden. Time flew by. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the demigod-forgotten garden that only opened once every 500 years was finally about to open. When a magnificent power that could shake heaven and earth was released from the 10,000 ancient sacred peak. The outline of a colorful garden appeared in the corner of the sacred peak like a mirage. Chapter 637. 10,000 Ancient Sacred Peak. 200 to 300 core disciples from the true martial sacred land gathered in front of a tattered palace. In the sky, limitless magnificent power shook the dimension, and the outline of a colorful garden appeared above everyone's head. At the beginning, the outline of the garden was extremely blurry, and it existed in the form of an illusion. However, as time passed, the outline of the garden became clearer and more solid. From the looks of it, it seemed like it was about to materialize. In the front and back of the garden, there was a simple, dark green, rusty bronze gate. On both sides of the gate stood the mythological Qilin. Even though they were stone sculptures, they had a metallic feeling and were very lifelike. The demigod-forgotten garden usually takes an hour to fully open. Dong Wenjian's voice sounded in their ears. Zhao Feng and Dong Wenjian stood in the crowd of disciples from the mystic true sacred clan. Below the entrance of the demigod-forgotten garden were 2 sacred clans and 33 two-star sects of the sacred land. Being a 3-star sect, the mystic true sacred clan had 50 spots. Normal 2-star sects had 5 spots. Some powerful 2-star sects had even more spots, such as 8 or 10. For example, the 10,000 Lightning clan had 10 spots, and the Golden Mountain clan had 5 spots. Before the demigod-forgotten garden opened, Dong Wenjian introduced the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land to Zhao Feng. Firstly, the leader of the mystic true sacred clan was Nan Gongxing, followed by Qin Yilin and senior martial brother Nan. These 3 geniuses were all at the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. They were all ranked among the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Of course, apart from these 3, the mystic true sacred clan also had some quasi-10 geniuses whose strength was only weaker than the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. For example, the early stage and middle stage Great Origin Core realm core disciples. On top of that, Jiang Fan, who had the 10,000 ancient races ranking, might be able to challenge the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Perfect. Jiang Fan's gaze landed on Zhao Feng and his face was filled with unwillingness. This Zhao Feng's cultivation has also broken through to the late-stage small origin core realm. Jiang Fan's fists were clenched, and he felt defeated. Back in the Void Ocean Spiritual Palace, Zhao Feng was just a nobody that he couldn't interact with. Besides Jiang Fan, Qin Yilin also noticed this. Zhao Feng's improvement wasn't normal, and he was even slightly faster than Jiang Fan, who had the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. Junior martial brother Jiang, don't worry about it. At the same cultivation level, you have the legendary bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, so you have an absolute advantage. Your opponents are the 10 geniuses of the sacred ground. Qin Yilin comforted her with a smile. Hearing this, Jiang Fan's expression eased a little. He made up his mind that after entering the Forgotten Garden, he would definitely surpass Zhao Feng in terms of harvest. Mystic True Sacred Clan disciples, after entering the Forgotten Garden, you must take care of each other. Don't kill each other or fight for fame. The majestic will of a great emperor resounded in the minds of the disciples. Law Enforcement Elder! The true disciples of the Glory sect were startled and quickly agreed to it. Next, with Dong Wenjian's introduction, Zhao Feng got to know some geniuses from other powerful sections. She is Mengxi. Of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land, she's the only peerless genius that can fight against Nan Gongxing and has the legendary bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. The gazes of the two were fixed on a young girl in a blue pleated dress. This girl's face was as flawless as jade, and her eyes were like stars. Her hair fell to the ground and danced in the wind. She seemed to be the perfect image of a dream. Everyone present. The gazes of the geniuses landed on Mengshi, and they all felt dazed. No matter what angle they looked at her from, Mengshi fit the image of a perfect goddess in their hearts. What a unique bloodline aura. Zhao Feng felt a sense of awe that he hadn't felt in a long time. Goddess Charming Dream's hair made him instinctively want to chase after and protect her. Pun! Pun! The left eye of the god's spiritual god started to beat. Zhao Feng's emotions calmed down, and he got rid of the temptation. This Mengshi's bloodline leans towards the soul. Zhao Feng concluded. The eyes of the girl in the blue dress turned and landed on Zhao Feng. In an instant, a powerful pressure that came from his soul and bloodline made Zhao Feng's body freeze. On top of that, Mengshi's eyes landed on Zhao Feng for a breath or two. Next to Zhao Feng, Dong Wenjian's mind, consciousness, bloodline, and true yuan all froze. Mengshi's actions attracted the attention of the other geniuses from the other sacred lands. A genius that could make Mengshi curious and surprised shouldn't be simple. He's the new core disciple? Nangongxing couldn't help but glance at Zhao Feng, but his expression remained calm. That's right, he's that Zhao Feng, the one that Emperor Duanmu took in as his personal disciple. A core disciple next to him said. At the same time, Zhao Feng felt the pressure from the gazes. Many of them belonged to the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Among them, Zhao Feng felt the enmity and killing intent from the soul. Zhao Feng, life is so beautiful. We meet again, and we'll perform together on the same stage. A warm youth from the Thousand Darkness sacred clan inspected Zhao Feng with a warm smile. At this moment, Dong Wenjian introduced. This warm youth is a disciple that just joined the Thousand Darkness sacred clan. His name is Wenluan, and his strength shouldn't be weaker than the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. It's very likely that he's the dark horse of the demigod Forgotten Garden. The warm youth's name was Wenluan, and his cultivation had reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. Wenluan? Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he became wary. The warm youth gave him a sense of danger. Apart from the 2 sacred clans, there's also Leijin from the 10,000 Lightning clan. He has a rare ancient lightning spirit bloodline and specializes in lightning. His battle power is extremely strong. Dong Wenjian warned. Leijin? Zhao Feng followed his gaze and saw a tall, barefoot man with messy hair and a dirty face. He carried a giant sword on his back. Leijin's cultivation had reached the middle stage Great Origin Core realm, and the aura of lightning radiating from his body made Zhao Feng's wind lightning true yuan tremble. What a strong aura of lightning. Zhao Feng could feel how terrifying this person was just from the wisp of lightning he had sensed from him. Humph. The Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance? Back then, the Wind Lightning Emperor once cultivated many techniques of the Tao of Lightning in the 10,000 Lightning clan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become so famous. Leijin murmured to himself. The 10,000 Lightning clan was one of the top sects in the Tseng Ocean that cultivated the Tao of Lightning. In the sacred land, their strength was close to 3-star sects and far surpassed the Golden Mountain sect. Even the Wind Lightning Emperor had once cultivated in the 10,000 Lightning clan. Without the 10,000 Lightning clan, there wouldn't be any glory for the Wind Lightning Emperor. None of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land are simple. Zhao Feng paid attention to each of the 10 geniuses, and Dong Wenjian introduced them to him. Time passed by slowly. Above his head, the original blurry silhouette of the garden slowly solidified. The air around the 10,000 ancient sacred peaks started to tremble. It was as if space was squeezing and colliding with another space. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was able to see some things. If we liken space to a bubble, then now, it was a small bubble that merged into the sacred land's dimension. The demigod Forgotten Garden was a secret dimension. It was created by a demigod with heaven-defying methods. The demigod Forgotten Garden is about to open. The 200 to 300 geniuses on the 10,000 ancient sacred peak looked up. At this point in time, what they saw was only a corner of the demigod Forgotten Garden, and there were 2 bronze gates. There are 2 entrances to the demigod Forgotten Garden. one in front and one behind. Information appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Currently, the 2 rusty bronze gates were guarded by the Mystic True Sacred Clan and the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan respectively. Behind them were the 2 star sections. One boom! The dimension shook once more. Luckily, the space around the 10,000 ancient sacred peak was extremely stable, and there was a space-stabilizing array around it. In their vision, the materialized corner of the demigod Forgotten Garden sank down and leaned against the 10,000 ancient sacred peak. The corner of the demigod Forgotten Garden has merged into the 10,000 ancient sacred peak. The demigod Forgotten Garden has successfully opened. Surges of divine sense from the various sects of the sacred land floated in the air. Demigod Forgotten Garden, let's go! Nen Gongxing was extremely arrogant as he turned into a streak of silver light and entered the rusty bronze gate. At the same time, Meng Shi leapt into the air, and her illusionary hair disappeared in a flash. The 2 super geniuses, Sacred and Meng, entered the demigod Forgotten Garden at a speed that others couldn't catch up to. Whoosh! 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 The geniuses of the 2 sacred clans each took a bronze gate and entered the demigod Forgotten Garden. Junior Martial Brother Zhao, it's best if you meet up with other disciples after entering the demigod Forgotten Garden. That way, you won't be at a disadvantage, Dong Wenjian reminded as he also flew toward the bronze gate. Zhao Feng nodded his head and didn't hesitate anymore. He left behind a streak of purple lightning and disappeared. It really is the purple destruction wind lightning. A cold intent appeared on the face of Lei Jin from the 10,000 Lightning Clan. One boom! As the geniuses of the sacred land entered the demigod Forgotten Garden one after another, the 2 bronze gates started to dim and show signs of becoming unstable. Until the 200 to 300 geniuses of the sacred land all entered the demigod Forgotten Garden. The bronze gates became extremely dim. Bam! The 2 bronze gates closed at the same time. Only the outline of the demigod Forgotten Garden was left on the 10,000 ancient sacred peak. Even Void God Realm kings and emperors couldn't enter the demigod Forgotten Garden with their divine sense. Shwa! Zhao Feng's figure sank, and he appeared in an ancient garden. Instantly, a powerful pressure descended from the demigod Forgotten Garden. As I thought. Zhao Feng's figure paused for a moment before starting to walk forward. The level of space within the demigod Forgotten Garden was much higher than the sacred lands, and it was several levels higher than normal islands. Zhao Feng had already learned about this a few days ago. At the same time, many geniuses that entered the demigod Forgotten Garden stumbled. What strong pressure! The geniuses of the sacred land all had red faces, and they found it hard to breathe. Those at the small origin core realm couldn't even fly in the demigod Forgotten Garden. Even great origin core realms couldn't fly here. Apart from that, all sorts of intents were greatly restricted here. For example, the great origin core realms in the outside world could sweep through dozens of miles and destroy a small city with their attacks. However, in the demigod Forgotten Garden, attacks of the origin core realm could only cover 10 to 20 yards at most. Apart from that, speed and other aspects were greatly restricted. Chapter 638. Demigod Forgotten Garden. The geniuses that had just entered the sacred land felt the pressure of heaven and earth, and their abilities were suppressed to the extreme. Some small origin core realm geniuses found it hard to even breathe. They needed to get used to the pressure in a short amount of time. Zhao Feng's figure paused for a moment before calmly walking forward. Although the pressure in the demigod Forgotten Garden was strong, it was nothing compared to the ancient dream realm. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could sense every flower, tree, and tile in the demigod Forgotten Garden. In the darkness, there seemed to be an immortal intent that controlled the power of heaven and earth. Skeletal Division Leader. Zhao Feng contacted the 10,000 Ghost Pearl and tried. He found that the Skeletal Division Leader couldn't enter the outside world. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised by this. He had gained a comprehensive understanding of the demigod Forgotten Garden a few days ago. There were rules to the demigod Forgotten Garden. Firstly, the geniuses that entered the demigod-forgotten garden could only rely on their own power, and couldn't rely on anything else. The skeletal division leader was completely suppressed by the 10,000 ghosts pearl. Zhao Feng tried to contact the little thieving cat. This time, he succeeded. Meow meow! The little thieving cat appeared on Zhao Feng's shoulder. Since the little thieving cat was Zhao Feng's spiritual pet, it wasn't restricted. Otherwise, those cultivation schools like beast tamers would only be able to watch helplessly in the Forgotten Garden. At the same time, in a certain corner of the demigod-forgotten garden, the warm youth gazed at a black bracelet on his wrist. When the black bracelet faintly shook, and it contained the aura of a void god realm king. Your Highness, the demigod intent is still here and controls the power of heaven and earth. I'm restricted by the laws and can't help you. A voice sounded from the bracelet. The demigod-forgotten garden is indeed not simple. Let's wait and see, and slowly enjoy the fun of this game. The warm youth, Wenluan, had a warm smile. Demigod-forgotten garden. The geniuses from the sacred land that tried to cheat revealed sad expressions. In the demigod-forgotten garden, all external forces were useless. Of course, nothing was absolute in this world. Success! Master is indeed worthy of being a mystic light realm sacred lord. He left behind something in the demigod-forgotten garden a long time ago. Meng Shi flipped her hand, and a purple horn appeared in her hand. The purple Qilin jade horn looked like a simple tool. It didn't have a storage function, nor did it contain any external force. However, as Meng Shi held the horn, a smile bloomed on her face, and she radiated a strong sense of confidence. Since it's like this, then I'll give the 100-flower garden a try first, then attack the myriad treasure tower or the nurturing heart hall. Meng Shi's figure flickered. Even in the demigod-forgotten garden, her speed was still extremely fast. The demigod-forgotten garden sounded like a huge garden, but it was actually a huge secret realm. Inside the forgotten garden, there were many places that contained opportunities and treasures, but they were also accompanied by dangers. Most of the geniuses in the sacred land knew a bit about the demigod-forgotten garden. The difference was, some geniuses had more information than others. And, according to the original plan, I'll go to the Purple Smoke Lake first. I'll be able to use my greatest advantage there. Zhao Feng also had his own plan. He had researched the demigod-forgotten garden before. Whoosh! Zhao Feng's figure leapt into the air and left a trail of purple wind behind him. The road under his feet was made from a type of green jade stone. Most of the roads in the demigod-forgotten garden were made from this type of green jade stone. The other places were mostly filled with flowers and trees. This was according to the experience of others. Normally, one wouldn't be attacked by the strong beasts and spirits in the demigod-forgotten garden on the green jade stone road. After all, the demigod-forgotten garden was filled with flowers and trees, and those areas were filled with hidden threats. The spiritual senses of outsiders were also suppressed in the demigod-forgotten garden, so they normally wouldn't enter the areas outside of the green jade stone road. At a certain moment, ting! Zhao Feng's figure leapt up and landed on an ancient tree. He opened his god's spiritual eye and looked down to see the terrain on the map. Luckily, the senses of the god's spiritual eye can still be used here. Zhao Feng soon confirmed his approximate location. Although the geniuses that entered the demigod-forgotten garden all had the relevant information, not many of them had a complete map. The demigod-forgotten garden only opened once every 500 years. Up until now, the true martial sacred land had only explored 60 to 70% of the area, and there were still some unknown or forbidden areas. Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye to determine the location with the limited information he had. This way, the direction of his destination, the Purple Smoke Lake, was extremely clear. Some. Zhao Feng increased his speed and didn't fly. Instead, he used his movement skill and even the lightning body technique from a long time ago. On the way, Zhao Feng occasionally met one or two geniuses from the sacred land. After entering the demigod-forgotten garden, Everyone was randomly teleported to a certain location on the green jade stone road. Boom! The sound of fighting came from a grassy hill not far away. Several geniuses from the sacred land found a rare grass that had the ability to awaken one's bloodline. However, there was only one grass, and there were several ancient beasts whose strength was comparable to the great origin core realm next to it. A chaotic battle broke out. A total of 4 or 5 geniuses from the sacred land joined the battle. Zhao Feng glanced at them. There were no geniuses from the mystic true sacred clan among them. Although the grass was valuable, Zhao Feng was too lazy to join in. There were many fortunes in the demigod Forgotten Garden. He had his own plan, and his destination was the Purple Smoke Lake. Zhao Feng continued on his way. On the way, he tried to avoid fighting with the geniuses from the other sacred lands. However, the demigod Forgotten Garden was huge, and everyone's speed was restricted. They couldn't even fly. Half a day later, Zhao Feng had only finished 2/3 of his journey. Right at this moment, in the garden ahead, a tower glittering with a metallic light appeared. Far away, Zhao Feng felt a surge of treasure aura coming from the metallic tower. Could the tower ahead be the 10,000 treasure tower? Zhao Feng's footsteps paused. The 10,000 treasure tower was a place of fortune in the demigod Forgotten Garden. It contained many treasures that the demigod had collected throughout his life. Some of those treasures were world-shaking divine weapons, while others were rare treasures with all kinds of special abilities. Someone once said that any one of the treasures in the 10,000 treasure tower could change the fate of a normal person. In the past tens of thousands of years, some of the rare treasures that were passed down from the myriad treasure tower created many legends. A mysterious ring had created a void god realm king. A strange token had led to a powerful 2-star sect. A mysterious copper coin had changed the fate of a mediocre person. Apart from that, there were some special items in the 10,000 treasure tower that were similar to the void god protection. They could be used in the demigod Forgotten Garden and weren't restricted by external forces. Because these items came from the demigod Forgotten Garden, they weren't restricted by the magnificent power of heaven and earth. All sorts of reasons made the 10,000 treasure tower an important target for the geniuses of the sacred land. As expected, when Zhao Feng arrived at the 10,000 treasure tower, there were already 40 to 50 geniuses of the sacred land nearby. One had to know. Right now, it was only the beginning of the demigod Forgotten Garden. The demigod Forgotten Garden only opened for half a month each time. It's only the first day, and the 10,000 treasure tower has already gathered so many geniuses. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. He had studied the 10,000 treasure tower before, and it wasn't like he didn't consider attacking this place first. However, after thinking about it, he gave up on entering the 10,000 treasure tower first. There were 2 reasons for this. Firstly, the competition in the 10,000 treasure tower was too intense. There were all sorts of challenges and dangers within. It was hard to achieve anything in the 10,000 treasure tower with just one person. Unless one was as strong as Nan Gongxing or Meng Shi. Simply put, it was best to form a team if one wanted to enter the 10,000 treasure tower. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao! A voice sounded from a group of 5 or 6 people in front of the 10,000 treasure tower. The owner of the voice was Dong Wenjian. Dong Wenjian was in the group of the true mystic sacred clan. The leader was Senior Marshal Brother Nan, one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Zhao Feng stopped. Now, he had 2 choices. First, join Senior Marshal Brother Nan and company's group. Second, reject. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, hurry up and join the group. There's strength in numbers. Let's enter the 10,000 treasure tower together. Dong Wenjian was very passionate and urged. Zhao Feng hadn't joined the mystic true sacred clan for long, and the only person he had some connections with was Dong Wenjian. Both of them were disciples of Emperor Duanmu. Hee, Junior Marshal Brother Zhao's strength isn't bad. I personally saw you defeat Suahong last time. The other people in the group expressed goodwill. There were many forces in the demigod Forgotten Garden, and the competition was intense. The disciples of the clan would take care of each other when they met. The leader, senior marshal brother Nan, was expressionless and didn't reject. There was strength in numbers. In his eyes, Zhao Feng's strength could be ranked in the middle. At the very least, he wouldn't drag the group down. Facing Dong Wenjian's invitation, Zhao Feng thought for a while. His eyes twinkled and his expression was resolute. Senior Marshal Brother Dong, I'm sorry, but I have my own plans and can't join your group, Zhao Feng said with slight regret. His first target was the Purple Smoke Lake. The 10,000 treasure tower wasn't suitable for Zhao Feng. He hadn't joined the sacred clan for long and wasn't familiar with the core disciples. Although Dong Wenjian and Zhao Feng were from the same clan, Dong Wenjian didn't have much goodwill towards Zhao Feng in his heart. He was a bit jealous and unbalanced. All of this. Zhao Feng's heart was like a mirror. This place wasn't like the Broken Moon clan's floating crest palace. He didn't have any true friends or people he could trust in the demigod Forgotten Garden. Although Zhao Feng had joined Senior Marshal Brother Nan's group and was ordered around by others in the 10,000 treasure tower, he wouldn't be able to get much in the end. The 10,000 treasure tower isn't suitable for me right now. Zhao Feng's figure flashed and he turned into a streak of purple lightning as he continued on his way. Before entering the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng was already mentally prepared to be a lone ranger and had a will to fight. Even if he was a lone ranger, he was going to kill his way out. This Zhao Feng doesn't know what's good for him. Zhao Feng's rejection made Dong Wenjian feel awkward. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't like Zhao Feng and was jealous, but he didn't dare to offend him easily. After all, Zhao Feng was favored by Emperor Duanmu and he was just an in-name disciple. Humph! Let him fend for himself. Without the strength of one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land, only death awaits a lone ranger. Senior Marshal Brother Nan's expression was dark. Zhao Feng actually refused to join his group. This was a slap to his face. Chapter 639. 4 hours later. Zhao Feng flew through the air. A faint purple lake appeared in front of him, and the surface of the lake was covered in mist. The lake was several hundred miles wide, and from afar, it looked like a pure purple jade. This is the biggest lake in the demigod Forgotten Garden, the Purple Smoke Lake. Zhao Feng slowed down his footsteps and was extremely cautious. At this moment in time, he had already walked out of the green jade path and approached the moist soil next to the lake. The entire demigod Forgotten Garden had an intent that controlled the power of heaven and earth and determined many laws. Among them, the green jade path was a forbidden area that most beasts didn't dare to enter. Compared to outsiders, the green jade stone path was a relatively safe area. And now, Zhao Feng left the green jade path and entered the Purple Smoke Lake. The Purple Smoke Lake is a place of fortune in the demigod Forgotten Garden. It produces many rare treasures and resources. Zhao Feng stepped on the soil and approached the faint purple lake. The water of the Purple Smoke Lake contained a special spiritual energy. The lake nurtured many precious materials and treasures. At the same time, it also nurtured a large number of powerful aquatic demonic beasts. Purple-scaled grass! The exclamations of several geniuses from the sacred land came from the shore. Whoosh! A man surrounded by flowing water grabbed a purple grass with strange scales and jumped out of the water. He stepped on the water waves and rushed towards the shore of the lake. Bo! Boom! Boom! Around him, there were dozens of giant demonic fish with sharp teeth. They opened their bloody mouths and bit him, unwilling to let him go. The weakest of these beasts were at the true lord rank, and the leading ones had battle power at the origin core realm. The environment of the demigod Forgotten Garden meant that the creatures here were 10 or even 100 times stronger than the outside world. Purple-scaled grass is a grass that can strengthen one's physical body. It can change the body of anyone below the void god realm. Information appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Purple-scaled grass was extremely rare in the outside world, but it was abundant in the Purple Smoke Lake. In the Tsang Ocean, 90% of the purple-scaled grass came from here, and it was priceless outside. Apart from transforming the physical body and strengthening the physique, the purple-scaled grass also had an incredible effect. If one could consume a large amount of purple-scaled grass, it was possible for them to obtain a bloodline ability that strengthened their defense. To put it simply, it could increase a defense-type bloodline ability. How unimaginable was that? But in the demigod Forgotten Garden, all sorts of inconceivable things were reasonable. After all, the master of the Forgotten Garden was half a step into the realm of gods. "Save me!" the man suddenly screamed as he was attacked by hundreds of demonic fish. Within the demigod Forgotten Garden, ordinary primal core realm cultivators wouldn't be able to fly due to the high grade of the space and the immense pressure. Even a great origin core realm could only fly for a short period of time. Even though the man was proficient in water-type martial arts, he was still in a difficult situation after being attacked by hundreds of demonic fish in the lake. Most of the demonic fish in the Purple Smoke Lake were carnivores. They had a keen sense for the aura of outsiders, so they attacked instinctively. "Go help Junior Martial Brother Zhu." There were 2 disciples on the shore, and one of them pulled on a bow. The other used a Soul Dao secret technique, and a weird mental energy shot through the air to stop the attacks of the demonic fish. However, even then, when the water-type male reached the shore, he was covered in blood. The water-type male had just reached the shore. Suddenly, something happened. A ferocious wave of fishy wind rushed out from the water of the lake. A giant figure covered in dark gray scales could be seen in the water. "Watch out! It's an ancient crocodile!" The other 2 disciples were both late-stage small origin core realms, and they both used their techniques to attack the crocodile. However, the scales of the crocodile were extremely tough, and the attacks of the 2 small origin core realms didn't even leave a mark on it. Whoosh! The ancient crocodile's dark gray scales had traces of purple scales as it pounced on the water elemental man. "Arg!" the water-type male screamed. Even though he tried to run, one of his legs was still bitten. Crack! The water-type male lost one of his legs, and he escaped from the danger zone under the cover of the other 2 disciples. "There are so many water-type Yao spirits in the Purple Smoke Lake. It's even scarier than I imagined." The 3 hadn't recovered yet. In the end, although the 3 of them managed to obtain one of them lost a leg. Although a single purple-scaled grass was extremely valuable, it wasn't worth it to pay such a price. "I need to eat at least a dozen purple-scaled grass to have the bloodline ability to strengthen my defense." The 3 had bitter expressions. At the same time, the figures of geniuses from the sacred land could be seen near the Purple Smoke Lake. Only a few geniuses whose cultivation had reached the level of a supremacy would be able to obtain some benefits near the Purple Smoke Lake without being harmed. There were many treasures and resources within the Purple Smoke Lake, and purple-scaled grass was just one of them. The deeper one goes, the more valuable the treasures are. Apparently, there are mermaids in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake, and there's a mysterious palace at the bottom. Zhao Feng organized his thoughts and didn't act rashly. Since they couldn't fly, even great origin core realms could only try their luck near the shore. Not long after, Zhao Feng's thoughts became clearer and clearer. His thoughts were formed the moment the demigod Forgotten Garden opened. That brat's alone. Which force is he from? You don't look familiar. The gazes of the 3 from before landed on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was leisurely walking toward the trio. The 3 of them had wary expressions. One of them held a bow, one of them used the Soul Dao secret technique, and the male of water put away the purple-scaled grass. Zhao Feng didn't bother with the 3. He arrived at the place where the ancient crocodile had just appeared. The ancient crocodile is one of the few races that can attack the shore of the Purple Smoke Lake. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. He slowly sat down under the wary gazes of the 3. The 3 of them were surprised. Was this blue-haired youth an idiot? This place had just been attacked by the ancient crocodile, and he still dared to sit here? "The 3 of us come from the Dark Cloud clan. Which force are you from?" The prodigy holding the bow asked. Mystic True Sacred Clan, Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng said casually with his back facing the three. Mystic True Sacred Clan. The three from the Dark Cloud clan instantly revealed wary expressions and didn't dare to underestimate him anymore. The two sacred clans stood at the top of the true martial sacred land. Even in the demigod Forgotten Garden, the other two-star forces were at a disadvantage against the disciples of three-star forces. Let's retreat first. The three from the Dark Cloud clan retreated to the green jade stone path and sat down to recover. They didn't leave. Instead, they watched the progress of the other geniuses around the purple smoke lake. Most of the geniuses that tried were chased by the demonic fish and had to escape to the shore. Only 1 or 2 great origin core realms and a female beast tamer had some gains. This was especially so for the female beast tamer. She had come prepared and brought many beasts with her. There were also a few flying beasts in the sky that were responsible for guarding the area. Apart from that, the female beast tamer had also tamed more than a dozen demonic fish to help her obtain treasures from the lake. Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the female beast tamer, and he nodded his head. Right at this moment, a wave of wind rushed towards Zhao Feng from the shore. Ancient Crocodile. The hearts of the 3 Dark Cloud clan geniuses jumped. The battle power of the Ancient Crocodile was close to the peak small Origin Core realm, and its defense could block attacks from those at the Great Origin Core realm. Come! A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he opened his god's spiritual eye and locked onto the Ancient Crocodile. Dark Heart Seal. A soul-piercing coldness appeared from the left eye of the god's spiritual eye and drilled into the Ancient Crocodile's soul. Instantly, the Ancient Crocodile's figure froze in the air and fell to the ground. Zhao Feng sat on the ground with a calm expression. A breath or two later, the Ancient Crocodile had a respectful and submissive expression on its face as it arrived at Zhao Feng's side. And the first one. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Although the defense of the Ancient Crocodile's body was strong, its soul was average. The expressions of the 3 from the Dark Cloud clan changed dramatically. He controlled an Ancient Crocodile so easily? The genius that specialized in the Tao of the soul was stunned. To control an Ancient Crocodile, one needed to be at the Great Origin Core realm and be proficient in the Tao of the soul. Even sovereign lords that specialized in the Tao of the soul wouldn't be able to control an Ancient Crocodile so easily. Immediately afterward, the 3 of them watched as Zhao Feng sat cross-legged on the crocodile. The Ancient Crocodile was fearful and started to wander around the shore. The shore of the Purple Smoke Lake was the territory of the Ancient Crocodile. The other demonic fish didn't dare to get close when Zhao Feng sat on the crocodile. A while later, Zhao Feng met the second Ancient Crocodile and faced the one he was on. Dark Heart Seal. Zhao Feng's left eye circulated a soul eye bloodline technique and successfully enslaved the second Ancient Crocodile. This way, Zhao Feng now had 2 Ancient Crocodiles under his command. The eyes of the 3 from the Dark Cloud clan bulged out. After controlling 2 Ancient Crocodiles, Zhao Feng didn't need to fear anything near the shore. However, Zhao Feng didn't use the Ancient Crocodile to take some of the treasures near the shore like they had imagined. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 Ancient Crocodiles continued to wander around the shore. An hour later, the 3rd one, the 4th one, the 5th one. The number of crocodiles under Zhao Feng was still increasing. At this moment in time, even the female beast tamer in the distance was alarmed. That guy has a soul eye bloodline and can easily control 5 Ancient Crocodiles. The female beast tamer's eyes were filled with shock. One had to know, she had spent half a day to control more than a dozen demonic fish and 1 Ancient Crocodile. Furthermore, the creatures she controlled needed a Soul Dao secret technique, or else they would go out of control. However, every time Zhao Feng's Dark Heart Seal was used, the target would submit from the depths of their soul and be enslaved. This Soul Dao forbidden technique could solve everything once and for all. He's already controlled 5 or 6 Ancient Crocodiles. He can move around the shore and mine some precious ancient resources. The female beast tamer looked curiously at Zhao Feng. At this point in time, Zhao Feng had already enslaved 5 or 6 ancient crocodiles, but he still hadn't taken any action. From this, one could see how ambitious the other was. He probably had a long-term plan. Finally, Zhao Feng only let out a long breath after enslaving 10 crocodiles in one go, and he seemed to be slightly tired. 10 ancient crocodiles. The battle power of each one is comparable to a peak small origin core realm, and their defense can block the attacks of a great origin core realm. The hearts of the 3 from the Dark Cloud clan shook. The female beast tamer had an envious expression as she watched Zhao Feng's actions. She was extremely curious. What was this genius of the sacred clan who had a heaven-defying soul-eye bloodline technique planning? Chapter 640. After enslaving 10 ancient crocodiles, Zhao Feng's subordinates alone were enough to dominate the Purple Smoke Lake. At this moment in time, the geniuses of the sacred land, including the 2 great origin core realms, were slightly wary of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's every action was watched. After resting for a while, Zhao Feng rode the 10 ancient crocodiles toward the center of the Purple Smoke Lake. He didn't dare to go too deep. There were all kinds of beasts in the Purple Smoke Lake with strange abilities. Some of the Yao fish had thousands or even tens of thousands of them. Once they were caught, even half-step void god realms would have to retreat. With the strength of the ancient crocodiles, they could only be considered one of the top predators around the Purple Smoke Lake. Right at this moment, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a school of Yao fish swam toward them. There were hundreds of them, and the weakest was at the true lord rank. There were almost 10 at the origin core realm. These Yao fish sensed the aura of the ancient crocodiles and didn't dare to get close. Advance! Zhao Feng sat on one of the crocodiles and controlled them to approach the school of Yao fish. Whoosh whoosh. Whoosh whoosh. Instantly, the school of Yao fish panicked. Without hundreds of Yao fish, they wouldn't be able to threaten the 10 ancient crocodiles. 10,000 divine thoughts technique. 1 thought into 10. Zhao Feng's consciousness suddenly split into 10 or 20 parts and aimed at the Yao fish with the Dark Heart seal. These Yao fish were in a panic state and were easily captured by the Dark Heart seal. In a breath, Zhao Feng's Dark Heart seal had enslaved 18 Yao fish. The Yao fish were all at the true lord rank, and Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye was also successful when using the Dark Heart seal with the 10,000 divine thoughts technique. Whoosh whoosh. Whoosh whoosh. The enslaved Yao fish fearfully swam around the ancient crocodiles. He can control so many Yao fish with 1 thought? The female beast tamer near the shore was in disbelief. Her eyes were filled with deep reverence, and even a hint of admiration and worship. They were both mental energy experts, and the other's mastery was extremely high. He instantly split his spiritual sense into 20 strands and unleashed profound soul path secret techniques. To her, this was no different from a master. However, enslaving 18 demonic fish was only Zhao Feng's first wave. The second wave. Zhao Feng divided his mind and enslaved another 20 demonic fish. The third wave, the fourth wave, the fifth wave. After 5 or 6 waves, there were more than 100 demonic fish under Zhao Feng's command, including 10 origin core realm demonic fish leaders. By the lakeside, the female beast tamer was dumbfounded. Just how dense is his soul power? Even if a soul-type I bloodline can use Soul Dao secret techniques more efficiently and expend less energy, it can't be used endlessly. The female beast tamer was in disbelief. She estimated that Zhao Feng's soul strength was at least at the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. This was under the huge advantage of the Soul I bloodline, which increased the efficiency by several times and reduced the cost to a third. Within the Purple Smoke Lake, 10 ancient crocodiles and more than 100 demonic fish formed a small army under Zhao Feng's command. And the first step is almost complete. Zhao Feng nodded his head in his heart. This small army was enough for him to dominate the outer perimeter of the Purple Smoke Lake. After resting for an hour, Zhao Feng's energy recovered, and he gave a series of orders to his army. Whoosh! 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 The demonic fish scattered and started to become active around the perimeter of the purple smoke lake. Under Zhao Feng's command, the demonic fish started to mine the resources around the perimeter of the purple smoke lake. There are many treasures in the purple smoke lake. It's too inefficient to rely on just one person, and there are too many threats in the lake. Zhao Feng didn't do anything himself and left everything to his army. These giant crocodiles and demonic fish were used to the environment here, and they were quite intelligent. The 100 or so demonic fish were the main force in mining the resources. The ancient crocodiles were in charge of being the guards. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was in charge of finding the resources in the lake. Purple-scaled grass. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up, and he soon found traces of purple-scaled grass. The violet-scale grass was a rare herb that grew in abundance in the violet smoke lake. It possessed an unimaginable and miraculous power. Half of the geniuses that came to the purple smoke lake were here for this grass. Pop! Pop! Not long later, a few demonic fish gathered a few stalks of purple-scaled grass and brought them to Zhao Feng's side. Not bad. Zhao Feng held the stalks of purple-scaled grass and confirmed that they were real. With such a small army of aquatic creatures under his command, he believed that he would be able to collect even more purple-scaled grasses. To test the effects of the purple-scaled grass, Zhao Feng ate one first. In an instant, a cold aura seeped into Zhao Feng's flesh and blood, and then a burning sensation came from his flesh. A faint purple flame floated around Zhao Feng's body. A painful expression appeared on Zhao Feng's face as if he was struggling. Normal origin core realms would need at least half a month to consume one stalk of purple-scaled grass. However, Zhao Feng's state of existence wasn't simple, and after absorbing the aura from the ancient dream realm, he was like an ancient beast. His ability to absorb and digest couldn't be measured by normal means. This purple-scaled grass does have a certain effect on the state of existence. However, it doesn't have much effect on me. Zhao Feng sensed it. Because his state of existence had reached the limit of the great origin core realm, and it was even close to a king. Even a half-step king's state of existence wasn't as strong as Zhao Feng's. Of course, what Zhao Feng wanted was the ability of the purple-scaled grass to increase his defensive bloodline. Something that could give living beings a kind of bloodline power was rare even in the fan universe. This was also the most valuable effect of the purple-scaled grass. Time passed. Zhao Feng's army gathered many ancient treasures in the purple smoke lake, and the purple-scaled grass was the most important. During the process, it was unavoidable for Zhao Feng's army to suffer some losses. He was slowly increasing the foundation of his army. Half a day later, the number of Yao fish under Zhao Feng's control didn't decrease, and there were now more than 200 of them. As long as the target was enslaved by the Dark Heart Seal, they would completely submit from the perspective of their souls and thoughts. After that, the consumption of his eye bloodline power wasn't as high as before. Purple-scaled grass, water inkworm grass, water crystal stone, ancient black shell, all sorts of precious materials and treasures were delivered to Zhao Feng. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's standards were very high, and he would only gather treasures that were tempting to those at the origin core realm or that were already extinct in the outside world. Of these, Zhao Feng's main focus was the purple-scaled grass. The other precious materials and treasures were mostly used for regular external forces, alchemy, artifact refinement, detoxification, etc. The purple-scaled grass could directly increase one's strength. Zhao Feng placed the most importance on these treasures. The efficiency of gathering 1 to 200 Yao fish was extremely high. The number of purple-scaled grass in Zhao Feng's hands continued to increase. 18, 19, 20. Zhao Feng had a lot of gains. Others could only gather 1 or 2 in half a day, and they had to face the pursuit of many aquatic beings. However, he was like a general commanding his subordinates to work for him. Zhao Feng would eat a purple-scaled grass every hour. With the accumulation, Zhao Feng's body still increased, especially his defense. After eating the 10th purple-scaled grass, Zhao Feng felt that his bloodline had started to change. Traces of dark purple watery aura appeared in his flesh. Xiao Feng used his body to control this aura. When a layer of dark purple ripples appeared on Xiao Feng's body, and the outline of scales appeared. Success! Xiao Feng was overjoyed. It sounded incredible to have a new bloodline ability in his body. Xiao Feng could feel that the dark purple ripples on his body had a strong defense. This bloodline defense was similar to the scales on the body of an ancient crocodile. The ancient crocodile was at the small origin core realm, but its defense could block attacks from those at the great origin core realm. As for bloodline abilities, they were usually built on one's physique. Xiao Feng's state of existence was close to the void god realm, and after absorbing a large amount of ancient dream realm aura, the effect of this new bloodline defense was shocking. This bloodline defense has already increased my defense by 30%. Xiao Feng was excited. This effect was just the beginning. He continued to eat purple-scaled grass to increase the density of this bloodline. At the same time, Xiao Feng could also enter the ancient dream realm for a short period of time and absorb the ancient dream realm aura to refine this bloodline. 28, 30, 35. The army of the water race under Xiao Feng's control was still expanding, and its efficiency was becoming higher and higher. These creatures had a certain level of intelligence. Xiao Feng sent the appearance of the purple-scaled grass to some of the Yao fish leaders and told them to gather this rare grass. The next day, Xiao Feng had 30 to 40 purple-scaled grass in his hands. The speed at which he gathered the purple-scaled grass surpassed the speed at which he used them. At this moment in time, Xiao Feng's new bloodline ability had become even stronger. With just a thought, a layer of dark purple scales would appear on the surface of his body. The purple scales became more and more condensed. Its defensive power has been strengthened to twice its original level. Furthermore, this bloodline defense has merged directly into my body and doesn't affect my water bloodline. Xiao Feng felt that his body, especially his defense, had increased by a large amount. All of this was obviously seen by the geniuses near the Purple Smoke Lake. A day and a half had passed since the opening of the demonic Forgotten Garden. There were 20 to 30 geniuses gathered near the Purple Smoke Lake. Xiao Feng's harvest made the geniuses of the sacred lands jealous and envious. However, the army of the water race under Xiao Feng's control was becoming bigger and bigger, enough to scare most of the geniuses of the sacred lands. 20 ancient crocodiles, 300 to 400 Yao fish. The female beast tamer looked at Xiao Feng as if he wasn't human. In a corner of the lake, a measly small origin core realm took 90% of the purple-scaled grass. His army took most of the purple-scaled grass and other treasures. We didn't even get to eat the bones. 5 or 6 geniuses of the sacred lands gathered together. These people were filled with hatred and unwillingness as they looked at the army of water race on the Purple Smoke Lake. 2 of them had reached the great origin core realm. One was a wrinkled male, and the other was a youth that specialized in the Tao of the sword. The wrinkled male specialized in the Tao of ghost corpses and controlled an army of 100 skeletons. 8 of them were at the origin core realm, and one was a golden sovereign lord. Chapter 641. Senior Marshal Brother Jiu, you come from the Thousand Darkness Sacred Sect and specialize in the Tao of the Soul. Only you can deal with that brat. A genius from a 2-star sect suggested. Hearing this, the other geniuses from the other sacred lands all agreed. Even the youth at the Sovereign Lord level nodded in agreement. Xiao Feng came from the 3-star Mystic True Sacred Clan, and normal geniuses from 2-star sects didn't dare to offend him. Everyone's eyes landed on the wrinkled Senior Marshal Brother Jiu. Okay. Senior Marshal Brother Jiu's eyes flashed. Amongst these people, he was the most experienced and powerful. Purple Smoke Lake. Xiao Feng sat on the ancient crocodile, and many demonic fish were active in the nearby waters. For now, he didn't dare to go deep into the Purple Smoke Lake, so he only searched around the perimeter of the lake. According to the information, there are even more powerful beasts in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake, including the legendary mermaid race and the mysterious palace at the bottom of the lake. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. His first step was to search around the perimeter of the purple smoke lake. Whoosh! Whoosh! A large number of demonic fish searched for treasures in the nearby waters. The purple-scaled grass was still his main target. Although most of the other treasures were also valuable, they couldn't increase Zhao Feng's strength in a short period of time. 58, 60, 63. Zhao Feng counted the purple-scaled grass that he had obtained. For now, he had used more than 30 purple-scaled grass, which combined with the ancient dream realm aura, created a defensive bloodline. His thoughts moved. A layer of dark purple scales appeared on Zhao Feng's body, as if he was wearing a close-fitting, scaled armor. This defensive bloodline only increases defense and physical strength, but it doesn't have any offensive abilities. However, this bloodline can make it easier for me to merge into the purple smoke lake. Zhao Feng found an unexpected benefit. After all, the purple-scaled grass was a product of the purple smoke lake. Zhao Feng had used a large amount of purple-scaled grass, and this defensive bloodline was more suitable for the water, especially the purple smoke lake. Now, even if Zhao Feng was in purple smoke lake, the aquatic creatures in the lake would not treat him as an outsider. Imperceptibly, the pressure of being hated was reduced by more than half. I'll enter the depths of the purple smoke lake after I've collected a total of 100 stalks of purple-scaled grass. Zhao Feng calculated in his heart. Just as he was thinking. Poof! On the other side of the lake, a thick dragon-shaped skeleton floated on the surface of the water. It carried 5 or 6 people and approached them. Ghost corpse secret art? Zhao Feng turned to look. There were 5 or 6 geniuses from the sacred lands standing on the dragon-shaped skeleton. The 2 leading supremacies were withered-faced senior brother Jiu and the other young man. The other 4 were at the late stage in peak small origin core realms. This group of people came menacingly, their eyes flashing with greed. TSK, Junior Surname Zhao, you've monopolized a large amount of purple scale grass, monopolizing a large area of precious materials and treasures. You've really made us envious. Senior brother Jiu said in a strange tone. What do you want? Zhao Feng's sharp gaze was like a cold blade. The people on the dragon-shaped skeleton all felt a coldness. With Zhao Feng's current bloodline, just a glance from him could pressure normal sovereigns. What do we want? We want to buy some purple scale grass. Senior brother Jiu wasn't scared. With his middle-stage great origin core realm cultivation and his knowledge of the Tao of the soul, he wasn't scared of a small origin core realm with talent in the soul. Buy. Zhao Feng squinted his eyes and scanned over these people. These people were obviously here to make trouble under the guise of buying. The value of purple scale grass was immeasurable in the outside world. 1 stalk of purple scale grass was worth close to a middle-grade earth-grade weapon. To create a defensive bloodline, one would need at least a dozen or even 20 to be safe. How about this? We'll buy 1 stalk of purple scale grass for 10,000 high-grade primal crystal stones. Senior brother Jiu said. 10,000 high-grade primal crystal stones. Some of the geniuses of the sacred grounds who were watching from the shore almost choked. 10,000 high-grade primal crystal stones probably couldn't even buy a single root of purple scale grass. This was blatant extortion. Fuck off. Zhao Feng couldn't be bothered with them. However, it was obvious that senior brother Jiu and company had come prepared. They hadn't left yet. Instead, they were causing trouble nearby. For example, they were disrupting the movements of the demonic fish so that Zhao Feng couldn't take them. A few of the demonic fish were slaughtered by these people. Humph! Zhao Feng's expression became grim, but he smiled instead of getting angry. That was fine. His goal was to dominate the purple smoke lake, so he would use these people to establish his dominance. Go! With a thought, Zhao Feng controlled 20 ancient crocodiles to charge towards senior brother Jiu and company. The battle power of the 20 ancient crocodiles were all comparable to peak small origin core realms, and they charged forward at the same time. The expressions of senior brother Jiu and company changed dramatically. The 4 geniuses below the great origin core realm instantly started to panic. The ancient crocodiles had the advantage of being in the lake, and their charge instantly scattered everyone. "Kill the leader!" Senior Brother Jiu roared as 2 sovereign lords passed by the crocodiles and charged toward Zhao Feng. If they fought head-on against 20 crocodiles and hundreds of demonic fish, even the 2 sovereign lords would feel their scalps go numb. However, they understood the principle of capturing the leader first. Zhao Feng was the commander of this army. As long as they killed him, everything would collapse, and they would be able to benefit from it. There was no simpler strategy than this. The 2 great origin core realm sovereign lords charged toward Zhao Feng one after the other. The Sword Dao youth was at the front, and he was responsible for charging. Senior Martial Brother Jiu controlled the sovereign lord Golden Skeleton, and at the same time, he used a Soul Dao secret technique to try and disrupt Zhao Feng's control over the army. Not good. On the shore, the female beast tamer's eyes were filled with unwillingness. As a beast tamer, she knew best that cultivators like her who practiced the Dao control were most afraid of the strong enemy's decapitation strategy. How could Zhao Feng safely retreat from the attacks of 2 sovereign lord-level geniuses? "Appear!" Zhao Feng sat still as a black flag appeared in his hand. Shwa! With a wave of the black flag, the 100 cursed corpses appeared. Thick gray smoke accompanied by the ghost corpses' resentment enveloped a radius of several dozen meters. "Si!" Just as the young swordsman got close, he was suppressed by the dense cloud of ghost flames. Countless bloodied hands reached out from the ghostly flames and reached into the Sword Dao youth's body. At this moment, each of Zhao Feng's cursed ghost corpses had reached the half-step origin core realm, and they had merged with the aura of the ancient dream realm. The swordsman had just charged in, and his body felt cold. His essence, chi, and soul were constantly being drained. His battle prowess was instantly weakened by 30 to 40%. Moreover, as time passed, his combat strength would continue to weaken. After 10 breaths of time, he might turn into a pile of bones. "Curse of 100 corpses? Watch me!" Senior apprentice Brother Jiu laughed evilly and controlled the golden skeleton to charge into the ghost corpse curse. The golden skeleton charged into the curse formation and was not affected much. So, the ghost corpse curse didn't have much of an effect on dead creatures that were also ghost corpses. Furthermore, this golden skeleton was at the great origin core realm. As such, Zhao Feng still had to face a complete High Lord and a weakened High Lord sword cultivator. "As long as I can successfully decapitate him in a short period of time, I'll be able to kill him. Everything can be broken." Senior Brother Jiu's heart was as clear as a mirror. However, in the next instant, a scream came from the 100 corpses' cursed formation. "Ah!" The young man was cut by a dark purple blade of light that was as thin as a cicada's wing. Blade of purple destruction! The dark purple blade in Zhao Feng's hand released an aura of destruction and slashed toward the young man. Although the youth was at the early stage Great Origin Core realm and his battle power was stronger than normal sovereign lords, his senses were greatly restricted in the cursed array. How? The Sword Dao youth's eyes widened in disbelief. How could Zhao Feng have the energy to attack him while controlling the array? Furthermore, the attack was extremely fast. Of course, he didn't know that Zhao Feng cultivated the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique, which allowed him to control the Ghost Corpse curse formation with one hand and attack with the other. Whoosh! After his attack succeeded, Zhao Feng's figure vanished. The Sword Dao youth's figure started to sway, and he wanted to escape, but he was surrounded by thick clouds of ghost flames. Being fatally injured, the Sword Dao youth wouldn't be able to break through in a short amount of time. His Great Origin Core realm energy was quickly drained away, becoming fertilizer for the cursed array. Within the Ghost Corpse curse formation, Zhao Feng only needed to face the Golden Skeleton, which was at the Sovereign Lord level. Purple Destruction Wind Lightning Whip. A dark purple whip condensed in Zhao Feng's hand that was even more condensed than before and wrapped around the Golden Skeleton with a bam. The power of the Dao of Lightning countered Ghost Corpses. On top of that, Zhao Feng's purple destruction wind lightning contained an aura of destruction. The core within his body had completely crystallized, and it was comparable to a sovereign lord. The purple destruction True Yuan was even closer to the origin of the ancient dream realm, and its power had surpassed the limits of its original form. Whoosh! Black smoke rose from the golden skeleton as it struggled with all its might. Kneel! Zhao Feng roared as he thrust his palm toward the golden skeleton. His physical strength was like that of a giant beast. At this moment, Zhao Feng's state of existence was close to that of a king, but his physical strength had surpassed logic with the help of the ancient dream realm aura, the heart blood essence, and the purple scaled grass. He thrust out his palm, and a surge of ancient bloodline aura radiated from it. Creak! The golden skeleton was suppressed to the point that it couldn't move. The pressure spread from its body to its consciousness. Ice Imperial Seal. A crystal-like seal appeared on Zhao Feng's other palm, and the Ice Imperial power enveloped the golden skeleton. Sizzle! Sizzle! A layer of frost appeared on the golden skeleton's body under the pressure of the extreme cold. Plop! The golden skeleton was pressed onto the surface of the ancient crocodile by Zhao Feng. Brat, don't even think about it. Senior Marshal Brother Jiu's expression changed dramatically as he roared. At this moment, he couldn't care less about the curse of 100 corpses and charged in to save his golden skeleton. That was a sovereign lord-level ghostly skeleton. Humph! Zhao Feng didn't bother with it. He merged with the Ice Imperial Spear and unleashed the full power of his ice-water bloodline. Sizzle! The golden skeleton's body turned into ice, and it was soon placed in a six-sided crystal seal. Stop! Senior Marshal Brother Jiu leaped over and slammed his palm onto Zhao Feng's body. However, Zhao Feng didn't move. When a layer of dark purple scales appeared on his body, as if he was a dragon scale warrior. Pun! The palm of a great origin core realm seemed to have hit him. Chapter 642. What? Senior Marshal Brother Jiu exclaimed as his palm landed on Zhao Feng, but the latter didn't move an inch. Even if he specialized in the Tao of the Soul and his close combat abilities were average, this was still the full power palm of a sovereign lord. When a layer of dark purple scales appeared on Zhao Feng's body, and his defense had reached a level that even sovereign lords would be scared of. The defensive bloodline of the purple-scaled grass made use of Zhao Feng's powerful body to the extreme. If it were a sovereign with a normal body, no matter how much purple-scaled grass they ate, they wouldn't have such an effect. Seal! Zhao Feng still didn't bother with Senior Marshal Brother Jiu as he circulated his bloodline power and completely sealed the golden skeleton. The golden skeleton lost the ability to struggle. Next, a strong surge of eye bloodline power appeared in Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye, and wisps of purple destruction lightning fire started to appear in his left eye. Whoosh! Black smoke rose from the frozen golden skeleton, and the flames in its eye sockets became chaotic and fearful. See! Senior Marshal Brother Jiu, who was connected to Zhao Feng's soul, couldn't help but groan. Under the effect of the purple destruction eye flame that could penetrate both material and soul, the mental imprint that came from the golden skeleton was being rapidly worn away. Don't even think about it! Senior Marshal Brother Jiu saw through Zhao Feng's intentions and became enraged. A dark flame surged from his body and wrapped around Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's expression was cold as he focused on wiping away the mental energy imprint on the golden skeleton. Within the dimension of his left eye, the eye bloodline lake had reached a radius of 800 yards. Over the past year or so, Zhao Feng had been cultivating the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, refining his soul and absorbing an ocean of ancient dream realm aura. His soul was only slightly weaker than a half-step king. It was even more condensed than a normal half-step king, and this was all because of the ancient dream realm aura and the 10,000 divine thoughts technique. Therefore, in terms of the soul, Zhao Feng had an overwhelming advantage. Furthermore, he was using the god's spiritual eye to unleash the power of the purple destruction eye flame, which suppressed the Tao of ghost corpses. Poof! Senior Brother Jiu's attack was even more powerful, striking Zhao Feng once again. The surface of Zhao Feng's purple scaly skin caved in a little, but it quickly recovered. You should know. Zhao Feng didn't just have this kind of defensive bloodline. He also had the water bloodline, which was top-notch in terms of defense and healing. Even if Senior Brother Jiu's attack was twice as strong and could cause some damage to Zhao Feng, it would still be useless before Zhao Feng's powerful recovery ability. 20%, 30%, 40%. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye quickly erased Senior Brother Jiu's mental imprint on the golden skeleton. Meanwhile, he was multitasking and even used the Dark Heart seal to enslave the golden skeleton. A Supreme Lord-level skeleton. In the future, the 100 Cursed Corpses will have a leader. The skeletal division leader within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl was extremely excited. It could sense what was happening outside through the Dark Heart seed. Stop! Senior Martial Brother Jiu was enraged and even took out his weapon to attack Zhao Feng even more fiercely. However, he found that his attacks were becoming weaker and weaker. The Ghost Corpse Curse formation was constantly devouring his energy and soul. Arg! Under the power of the Ghost Corpse Curse formation, the Sword Cultivator was reduced to a puddle of blood. He let out a miserable shriek as he died. Senior Brother Jiu felt a coldness spread through his body. A strong sense of danger caused his face to turn pale. His battle power was weakened to 60 to 70%. Even though he was proficient in the soul path and had strong resistance, he couldn't withstand it. If I don't run now, there won't be any hope. Senior Brother Jiu's scalp went numb. The blue-haired youth was like a dragon-scaled beast. He was a sovereign lord, but he couldn't injure him at all. 60%, 70%, 80%. Zhao Feng's speed became faster and faster. Run! Senior Brother Jiu was scared out of his wits. Once Zhao Feng was free, there was no guarantee that he wouldn't follow in the footsteps of the youth. This new core disciple of the mystic true sacred clan might be one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Who within the Ghost Corpse cursed array, a thick cloud of ghostly flames enveloped Senior Brother Jiu. 80%, 90%, 100%. Zhao Feng's purple destruction eye flame had successfully erased the mark on the golden skeleton, and the Dark Heart seal was about to be completed. So, Senior Brother Jiu used a secret technique and turned into a ghastly figure that barely managed to escape the range of the Ghost Corpse cursed array. However, in the next instant, he faced the charge of more than a dozen ancient crocodiles and many demonic fish. Pun! 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 Senior Brother Jiu's yuan qi was quickly expended as he fought his way out. Done. Zhao Feng used the Dark Heart seal to successfully enslave the golden skeleton. His Dark Heart seal didn't just work on humans and beasts, it was also effective on ghost corpses. Whoosh! The golden skeleton charged out of the Ghost Corpse cursed array and attacked Senior Brother Jiu from behind. Damn it! Senior Brother Jiu gritted his teeth in anger. The sovereign monster that he had raised for more than a dozen years was instantly taken by his opponent. The humiliation left a shadow in his heart. At the same time, Arg! Arg! The other 4 core disciples died under the attacks of the ancient crocodiles and demonic fish. Their bodies were dragged into the Ghost Corpse cursed array. This scene made Senior Brother Jiu tremble in fear. So, from the beginning to the end, Zhao Feng was fighting on multiple fronts. He had at least 3 fronts. On the first front, he controlled the ancient crocodiles and demonic fish to capture the other 4 core disciples. On the second front, he controlled the Ghost Corpse cursed array to suppress the youth who cultivated the sword Dao. On the third front, he erased the golden skeleton's mark. Of course, the third front was the most important, and it took up most of Zhao Feng's energy. Right now, Zhao Feng controlled the golden skeleton to chase after Senior Brother Jiu. Next to the lake, the core disciples of the sacred land had their mouths open. Grandmaster control. His strength is comparable to the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land. The female beast tamer's eyes were filled with shock. The geniuses of the sacred grounds could only watch as their senior brother Jiao lost both his wife and his men. On a hidden hill near the smoky wave lake, 3 or 4 core disciples were gathered together. If Zhao Feng was present, he would definitely recognize that these core disciples came from the mystic true sacred clan. The one leading them was one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land, Qin Yilin. Senior brother Qin, Zhao Feng has the strength to kill Jiao Maji and company in one fell swoop. Jiang Fan said in disbelief. One had to know that Jiao Maji's cultivation had reached the middle stages of the Great Origin Core realm, and he had a sovereign Lord Golden Skeleton. His battle power was comparable to the top 10 geniuses. On top of that, the youth who cultivated the Tao of the Sword also came from a famous clan in the true martial sacred land. Such a team had been defeated by Zhao Feng alone, almost completely annihilated. We've underestimated Zhao Feng. Qin Yilin had a solemn expression. Their group had hidden here in hopes of watching Zhao Feng's show. This means that we won't be able to help and have the initiative to negotiate with Zhao Feng. The other early-stage Great Origin Core Realm genius said in a deep tone. Qin Yilin and company also saw how Zhao Feng controlled the army of the water race. Their original plan was to wait for Zhao Feng to suffer and run into danger before helping him and taking control of the situation. If they wanted to take over the Purple Smoke Lake and obtain the treasures, Zhao Feng's army would be of great use. Right at this moment, Arg. One of senior brother Jiao's arms was sliced off by the golden skeleton. This was mainly because he was weakened in the Ghost Corpse cursed array. His strength had dropped to 50 to 60%, and he was being harassed by the ancient crocodile and the Yao fish. Finally, senior apprentice brother Jiao sacrificed an arm to escape. This Zhao Feng is too ruthless. He killed several core disciples of the sacred lands. He's from a 3-star sect, and he killed them in self-defense. Those 2-star sects can't do anything to him. The geniuses of the sacred lands next to the lake were filled with wariness and respect for Zhao Feng. Not only was Zhao Feng strong and decisive, but he also had the 3-star mystic true sacred clan behind him. After this battle, although Zhao Feng had lost some of his subordinates, he had gained a lot. His Ghost Corpse cursed array had absorbed the essence and soul of several sovereigns and even sovereign lords. Furthermore, enslaving a sovereign Lord Golden Skeleton and putting it into the Ghost Corpse cursed array was like adding wings to a tiger. After resting for an hour, Zhao Feng controlled the water race army and started to replenish their forces. His army wasn't just limited to the crocodile and Yao fish. It also included other creatures, such as the water Yao snake and water cuttlefish. This kind of water-kind army had all kinds of functions, such as attacking, defending, scouting, logistics, assassination, and so on. Half a day later, Zhao Feng's army had 700 to 800 soldiers. 60% of them were Yao fish, and there were 20 to 30 ancient crocodiles. The terrifying strength of this army made the geniuses of the sacred grounds tremble in fear. So scary. This Zhao Feng probably wants to dominate the Purple Smoke Lake and monopolize the resources here. The geniuses around the Purple Smoke Lake tried their best to avoid Zhao Feng. Everyone had seen what happened to Brother Jiao and the others. Under Zhao Feng's control, such a large army harvested all sorts of treasures in an orderly manner. Zhao Feng's wealth was also getting stronger. Just the harvest in the past half a day had already surpassed some half-step kings. At the same time, the number of purple-scaled grass was also increasing. 81, 83. Zhao Feng counted. He had already used 30 to 40 purple-scaled grass, and he felt that the effects were getting worse. But this was within reason. No external force could increase one's strength limitlessly. Even the aura of the ancient dream realm was no exception. Bo! 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 The sound of footsteps came from the surface of the lake. Qin Yilin and a few other core disciples moved closer to Zhao Feng. Junior Martial Brother Zhao. Qin Yilin spoke with a smile. Zhao Feng controlled his army and opened up a path for Qin Yilin and company to approach. He wasn't very wary of other disciples from the sacred clan. Before entering the demigod Forgotten Garden, The regulations elder had given the order that the disciples of the sacred clan were not allowed to kill each other. Senior Marshal Brother Chen, what can I do for you? Zhao Feng smiled as he glanced at Qin Yilin and Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's expression was slightly awkward, and he remained silent. Life was just like that. Back when the three of them met in the Void Ocean's spiritual palace, they never would have thought that they would have the chance to work together in the demigod-forgotten garden. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao. Qin Yilin spoke in a tone that was neither humble nor arrogant. Although your army is strong, it's not enough if you want to obtain the true treasures in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. You have to know that there are legendary mermaids in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake, and there are even king-level existences. Chapter 643. What does Senior Brother Chen suggest? Zhao Feng narrowed his eyes. It was obvious that Qin Yilin could tell that he was after the deepest part of the Purple Smoke Lake. This meant that Qin Yilin had the same ambition. The depths of the Purple Smoke Lake could be said to be a forbidden area in the demigod-forgotten garden. It wasn't just because there were many powerful beasts in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. Another important point was the mermaid clan. The mermaid race was a legendary race that originated from the ancient times. They were gifted, and their intelligence was not much lower than that of humans. From the analysis of the past information, the mermaid race had a large population and could be said to be a small kingdom. The mermaid clan even had a king-level mermaid king. In the past, not many people dared to enter the mermaid kingdom when the demigod-forgotten garden opened. Even void god realm kings would find it hard to fight against the entire mermaid kingdom. I hope that Junior Brother Zhao can consider the bigger picture and work with us to mine resources in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. In the mermaid kingdom, the magical mermaid tears are even more valuable than the purple scale grass. Qin Yilin said solemnly. Mermaid tears? Is that all? Zhao Feng had a faint smile on his face. Everyone had information on the demigod-forgotten garden, not to mention that they were all from the mystic true sacred sect. Mermaid tears were indeed more valuable than purple-scaled grass. The purple-scaled grass was mainly used to target one's physique and bloodline. Mermaid tears, on the other hand, had an effect on the soul. Apparently, mermaid tears were formed from the tears of mermaids over a long period of time. They could purify the soul and help one comprehend the void god realm. Just this point alone was enough to create a fatal temptation for anyone below the king realm. Besides that, the mermaid tear crystal could heal serious wounds on the soul, mend the shadow of the heart, and expel the heart demon. It was even a water element treasure that could be used to refine soul path defensive equipment. I won't hide it from you. Qin Yilin looked deeply at Zhao Feng. If the timing is right, it would be best if we could enter the palace at the bottom of the lake. The palace at the bottom of the lake. The eyes of the mystic true sacred clan disciples lit up. According to the information, the palace at the bottom of the lake had been guarded by the mermaid clan for generations. Rumor has it that the palace at the bottom of the lake is the secret brewing hall of the demigod. It has the legendary fountain of youth and illusion god wine. In the past, the mermaid race specially brewed wine for that demigod. Qin Yilin paused. He believed that Zhao Feng also knew about these rumors. Because thousands of years ago, a genius from the sacred land entered the demigod-forgotten garden and fell in love with the princess of the mermaid race. Furthermore, under the mermaid princess's guidance, he stole the fountain of youth and the illusion god wine. That genius from the sacred land had become a king a few years after leaving the demigod-forgotten garden. Right now, that genius of the sacred ground was already a void god realm emperor of a certain sect in the sacred ground. All of this was thanks to the immortal spring wine and the illusionary god wine. The immortal spring water and illusion god wine were legendary immortal brews even in the vast Fan universe. The immortal springs wine can increase one's state of existence by 1,000 years. The illusion god wine can allow one to enter a profound state of emptiness for a short period of time and allow primal core realm cultivators to comprehend the intent of kings. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. The information that Qin Yilin had obtained was basically the same as his. As long as one could obtain both the Immortal Springs wine and the Illusion God wine, even a normal sovereign would have a high chance of becoming a Void God Realm King. The Immortal Springs wine could increase one's lifespan by 1,000 years. With this much time and the increase in one's state of existence, there was basically nothing to worry about. In comparison, Zhao Feng was more interested in the Illusion God wine, but it would be best if he could obtain both at the same time. Of course. The palace at the bottom of the lake was also very dangerous. Even kings would find it hard to break through the barrier of the Mermaid Kingdom. The only way was to outsmart them, and that depended on luck. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, what do you think? Qin Yilin smiled faintly and said, cooperating is obviously not a problem, but how do we split the benefits? Zhao Feng wasn't an idiot. With the help of one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred land in Jiangfan, who had the bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, they were indeed a strong team. How about this, Junior Marshal Brother Zhao? Help us get 50 purple-scaled grass to increase our strength and make our auras more compatible with the Purple Smoke Lake. Secondly, the powerful beasts in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake are not to be underestimated. The rewards on the way, including the mermaid tears, will be split 30 to 70. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao will get 30%, and the other 70% will be split between the 5 of us. If we're lucky enough to enter the palace at the bottom of the lake, what we get inside will depend on our own abilities. Qin Yilin gave the general details. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao will get 30%, and the 5 of us will only get 70%. Jiangfan seemed to be slightly unhappy. In terms of per capita, Zhao Feng had the majority. Ha! You guys get 70%? I get 30%? And I have to give you 50 purple-scaled grass? Hearing that, Zhao Feng couldn't help but laugh. Putting aside the 70% split, it was extremely difficult for normal sacred land geniuses to get more than a dozen purple-scaled grass, and they would face life-threatening situations. Furthermore, as for the most crucial treasure, the Lake Bottom Palace, Qin Yilin suggested that they should split it according to their own abilities. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, you're alone. Don't be too greedy. Qin Yilin's eyebrows furrowed. That's right. We need to deal with the powerful beasts and mermaids in the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. The other court disciples chimed in. Zhao Feng smiled coldly and shook his head. Then, Junior Marshal Brother, what do you suggest? Qin Yilin was unhappy, but he did need Zhao Feng's army. It was too difficult to gather purple-scaled grass alone, and it was a waste of time. You have to take out treasures of relative value to exchange for purple-scaled grass. As for what you get on the way, it all depends on you. Everything I get from the army belongs to me, Zhao Feng said decisively. Hearing that, Qin Yilin and company were obviously unwilling. After all, there were many people in Zhao Feng's army, and they would definitely take 90% of the treasures. On the Purple Smoke Lake, Zhao Feng and Qin Yilin's side discussed for a while, but there was no result. Preposterous! Qin Yilin waved his sleeves and laughed with the court disciples. On the shore, the court disciples of the other sects were startled. Obviously, the negotiations for this cooperation had failed. Zhao Feng didn't care. He controlled the beast army and slowly pushed into the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. The amount of purple-scaled grass he obtained was also accumulating. A few hours later, there was a total of 100 purple-scaled grass. Apart from the 30 to 40 that Zhao Feng used himself, there were still 60 left. However, the purple-scaled grass was useless to Zhao Feng and couldn't strengthen his defensive bloodline. At this moment, Zhao Feng's focus was on the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. The deeper they went, the stronger the beasts in the Purple Smoke Lake were. Zhao Feng's army suffered heavy losses and the weak were eliminated. However, Zhao Feng's progress was still slow, and there was a lot of resistance. There were many groups of beasts in the depths of the lake. Some groups of the water race were even stronger than Zhao Feng's army. His Dark Heart seal couldn't be used endlessly either. Half a day later, a powerful aura appeared from the lake ahead. Boom! Amidst the surging waves, a gigantic water monster the size of a small mountain split off countless tentacles and opened its huge mouth as it charged over. Water monster! Zhao Feng was stunned. The monster's battle power was at least comparable to a peak Great Origin Core realm, and it was even close to a half-step king. Under normal circumstances, his marine army would be crushed by the enormous water monster head-on. Eye of Ice Soul! Zhao Feng couldn't hold back anymore and used his eye bloodline technique. An icy chill enveloped the tentacle water monster's mind, causing it to slow down. Dark Heart Seal. Zhao Feng's blue hair blew in the wind as a strong soul eye bloodline power surged from his left eye, and a cold aura entered the soul dimension. Amidst the waves, the mountain-sized body of the monster suddenly froze and started to struggle. This monster's strength is probably comparable to the limitless ocean whale from before. If I fight it head-on, I'll suffer heavy losses. Zhao Feng had no path of retreat, so he could only try to control it. However, the life force of the tentacled monster was too big, and Zhao Feng's Dark Heart Seal met with strong resistance. A few breaths later, Zhao Feng's Dark Heart Seal had failed. However, he didn't give up and used a second eye bloodline technique. Eye of Illusion. The consciousness of the monster was instantly sucked away. A few breaths later, the tentacled monster was exhausted, and it struggled less. Zhao Feng had tortured its consciousness for several days in the illusion dimension. Dark Heart Seal. Zhao Feng once again used his soul eye bloodline technique. This time, the tentacled monster's resistance was extremely low, and it was easily enslaved by Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng let out a breath. This tentacled monster was the strongest creature he currently controlled. Under normal situations, even a few sovereign lords would find it hard to defeat a tentacled monster. After obtaining this tentacled monster, Zhao Feng's speed increased. Even some normal tribes would retreat when they met tentacled monsters. At the very least, they wouldn't dare to attack. Of course, most of the time, Zhao Feng had the tentacled monster hide at the bottom of the lake as a killing move. He advanced another few dozen miles. Zhao Feng successfully enslaved 2 large water pythons, both of which had ancient bloodlines. The battle power of these 2 pythons was at least at the late-stage Great Origin Core realm, comparable to Senior Martial Brother Jiu. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng's army was starting to take shape. 1 tentacle monster, 2 giant water pythons, and dozens of ancient crocodiles. Zhao Feng did a rough count. His water tribe army numbered more than 1,000. 600 to 700 of them were powerful Yao fish, and their battle power was comparable to a half-step Origin Core realm. Apart from the crocodiles, there were also some other beasts with special abilities. I can try to head to the Mermaid Kingdom now. The second step of Zhao Feng's plan was complete. With his army, he wouldn't need to fear any other tribes apart from the Mermaid Kingdom. Bo! 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 10 miles behind the marine race army, the sound of footsteps on the water surface could be heard. There was a total of more than a dozen geniuses from the sacred land, and they all had wicked auras. Senior Martial Brother Jiu, who had lost an arm, was among them. Senior Martial Brother 2, that brat's army is right in front of us. Senior Martial Brother Jiu gritted his teeth. The leader was a bald-headed giant with black scales. He was ugly and fierce, like a butcher. Chapter 644. Senior Martial Brother 2, that brat's army is right ahead. This group of more than a dozen people had the geniuses of the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan as the core. Senior Martial Brother Jiu was second. Everyone's fearful gazes landed on the black-scaled bald man. Tu Jusing, one of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. The expressions of Qin Yilin, Jiang Fan, and the others from the mystic true sacred clan changed dramatically. Tu Jusing came from the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan, and his cultivation had reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. He was one of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. At the same time, his father was the king of the demonic Tao, Tu Wanli. Humph! Jiu Maji found reinforcements so quickly? A core disciple from the mystic true sacred clan snickered coldly. Tu Jusing's group was chasing after Zhao Feng. It was obvious that they were up to no good. Follow! If I'm not wrong, Tu Jusing is definitely going to kill Zhao Feng. Qin Yilin's eyes twinkled. Back then, Tu Jusing's father, Tu Wanli, had lost face in front of Emperor Duanwu's projection. That day, it was all because of Zhao Feng. Not to mention today. Zhao Feng had killed a disciple of the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan, and he had a lot of treasures on him. Senior Marshal Brother Tu, I think that Zhao Feng has at least 100 purple-scaled grass and other treasures. Senior Marshal Brother Jiu licked his lips. Allow me to go over and capture him. The Water Tribe army will also listen to my orders. A cruel smile appeared on Tu Jusing's ugly face. Bo! 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 Right at this moment, Zhao Feng sensed something and looked back. His Water Tribe army had its own scouts. In the demigod Forgotten Garden, the spiritual sense of the geniuses of the sacred land was suppressed to the limit. Those at the Great Origin Core realm could only sense within 100 yards. In the Purple Smoke Lake, their senses were even more restricted. Tu Jusing and company were sensed by Zhao Feng as soon as they got within 10 miles. Tu Jusing, one of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land, Zhao Feng murmured. Before the demigod Forgotten Garden opened, Dong Wenjian had introduced him to the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Prepare for battle! Zhao Feng sneered and divided his willpower into 20 to 30 streams, instantly affecting the entire waterkind army. On the surface of the water, at the bottom of the lake, Zhao Feng's Water Tribe army was deployed everywhere, waiting for Tu Jusing and the others to arrive. Among them, only 1/3 of the marine race's forces appeared near the surface of the water. Most of the stronger ones hid in the depths or even at the bottom of the lake. Zhao Brat! Hand over 100 stalks of purple-scaled grass and I'll use them. Tu Jusing's domineering voice came closer. An ancient and serene demonic aura, overbearing and domineering, and scrupulously filled this part of the world. The demonic fish in Zhao Feng's legion all shivered in fear. What a shocking demonic bloodline! This Tu Jusing's mental state is no weaker than a half-step king. Zhao Feng also felt a sense of pressure. Since entering the demigod Forgotten Garden, this was the first enemy that could put pressure on him. Pop! 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 Tu Jusing took the lead and led over a dozen geniuses from the Holy Land. 3 of them were supremacies. Divine Chaos Art! One of the supremacies let out an ear-piercing scream that pierced through the soul dimension. Instantly, the soul dimension became chaotic, as if ghosts and gods were howling. Zhao Feng's army was in chaos, and their minds were in chaos. Some of the demonic fish's minds shattered. Not good! Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. There was a genius in Tu Jusing's group that specialized in the Tao of the soul. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng's control over the army dropped by 70%. Furthermore, Brother Jiu and another genius controlled skeletons, ghost corpses, and flying beasts. There were around 200 of them, and they charged toward Zhao Feng's army. That Tu Jusing isn't just ruthless, he's also very cunning. Behind them, Qin Yilin and the others quietly followed. As long as Zhao Feng is defeated and in desperate straits, he will beg us to help. At that time, we will have the initiative in the negotiation. Jiang Fan's expression was cold. All they had to do now was wait for Zhao Feng to be defeated. In the blink of an eye, Tu Jusing's group launched a lightning-fast attack, causing the army to fall into chaos. Under the cover of the group, Tu Jusing charged forward and charged toward Zhao Feng with unstoppable momentum. Capture the enemy first. Tu Jusing's strategy was the same as Brother Jiu's. However, he was much more powerful. His other teammates were also very experienced, and they were able to pin down the Marine Legion. Kneel and surrender! Tu Jusing yelled. An ancient demonic aura covered everything within 100 feet. Boom! He thrust out his palm, and the blurry image of a fiendish fire dragon could be seen. Just a few ripples were enough to kill the demonic fish and beasts nearby. Even 2 ancient crocodiles, which had strong defenses, were killed on the spot. Break! Zhao Feng rose into the air and thrust out his palm. The cries of a phoenix and lightning flashed as a purple lightning dragon appeared in the storm. Boom! 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 The two powerful attacks clashed in the air. Demonic flames shot everywhere, and wind and lightning exploded. A berserk shockwave swept through the air, turning the nearby lifeforms into dust. Luckily, I chose to fight in the air. Zhao Feng's figure swayed as he retreated a few feet. A layer of dark purple scales appeared on his body, but he wasn't injured. Tu Jusing stood on the spot without moving. Tu Jusing had the upper hand in the initial clash, but Zhao Feng wasn't injured. Brat, you're pretty strong. You're able to block my attack with 60% of my power. Tu Jusing let out a sinister laugh. As soon as he finished speaking, the fiendish fire dragon arrived. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. Tu Jusing could take on 1 or 2 normal death guards head-on. Good timing. Zhao Feng didn't retreat when he saw Tu Jusing approaching. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng circulated the purple destruction true origin in his crystal core to the maximum, and the power of his body and the aura of the primordial era charged toward Tu Jusing like a primordial beast. Boom! A huge explosion sounded in the air, and waves over a dozen feet tall appeared in the water. The shockwave from the clash between Zhao Feng and Tu Jusing made it impossible for Senior Brother Jiu and the others to get close. Is this the brat's true strength? Senior Brother Jiu was shocked. He wouldn't be able to take on Tu Jusing's attack head-on. Boom! Boom! Between the giant waves, Zhao Feng and Tu Jusing fought head-on without backing down. The two exchanged more than a dozen palm strikes in one breath. Another thunderous boom resounded, and the two figures finally separated. Boom! Zhao Feng's figure was pushed back a few dozen feet, and the layer of dark purple scales on his body cracked in a few places. A faint blue layer of water surrounded his body, and his injuries quickly healed. On the other side, tongue! 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 Tu Jusing's figure was pushed back, and he suppressed the clotted blood in his body. There were also some burn marks on his body. Zhao Feng's physical strength is terrifying. It's hard to break through his defense. Tu Jusing was shocked. His bloodline was powerful, and he specialized in close-range combat. He didn't expect to be at a disadvantage. In terms of offense, he was slightly stronger than Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng's physical strength, especially his defense, was stronger than his. On top of that, his recovery speed wasn't as fast as Zhao Feng's. The injuries that Zhao Feng's purple destruction wind lightning had left on his body were hard to recover from. On the contrary, Zhao Feng's water bloodline was shocking in terms of defense and recovery. Arg! Arg! Screams came from the group outside the battlefield. Boom! Boom! Giant beasts of the water race with different abilities crawled out from the bottom of the lake. Among them, 2 giant water pythons opened their mouths and devoured a genius of a sacred ground. Zhao Feng's true subordinates were mostly hidden in the depths of the lake. He's fighting Tu Jusing while commanding the army of the water race. Brother Jiu and the genius of the Soul Dao were shocked. However, what happened next made everyone exclaim. Boom! A giant whirlpool suddenly appeared in the water, and a giant tentacled monster charged out. What? Tu Jusing had just regained his footing when he was hit by the tentacles. Pa! Pa! Tu Jusing spat out a mouthful of blood and fell into the water. He was chased by the tentacled water monster. Humph! Zhao Feng snickered. He didn't join the battle. Instead, he took out the Cursed Corpse Cursed Array and controlled the army of the water race to harvest the lives of the geniuses of the sacred ground. Tu Jusing's hunting team became the prey, and they were surrounded by the army of the water race. As one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred ground, Tu Jusing's battle strength was extraordinary. Even in his current state, he was still able to kill his way out. The tentacled water monster screamed miserably as its flesh and blood were torn apart by him. As expected of one of the top 10 geniuses of the sacred ground, Seeing this, Zhao Feng condensed his eye bloodline power into an invisible spike. Mental energy spike! A cold blue spike pierced through Tu Jusing's soul. Arg! Tu Jusing screamed in pain. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and his eyes became bloodshot. The mental energy spike was a pure soul attack that Zhao Feng had created a while ago, and it targeted the target's soul. When the soul was the same, those who were skilled in the soul Dao would have the advantage when using the mental energy spike. If one's soul was stronger, they would be able to deal even more damage. Tu Jusing was caught off guard and was pierced by the mental energy spike. His soul was injured. Retreat! Tu Jusing suppressed the pain in his soul and didn't dare to fight. He led 8 geniuses of the sacred ground out of the encirclement. Almost half of the hunting team had been killed. This Tu Jusing's battle power is too strong. Even the tentacled monster can't do anything to him. Zhao Feng's plan was to gather the army of the water race. The army of the water race had lost 200 to 300 people in this battle, and most of them were low-tier Yao fish. Half of them had died directly or indirectly at Tu Jusing's hands. From this, one could see the battle power of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Furthermore, Tu Jusing's strength wasn't at the top of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Purple Smoke Lake, only a small number of geniuses of the sacred land witnessed this battle. This was because the battlefield was close to the depths of the Purple Smoke Lake. Even with Tu Jusing's battle prowess, he still suffered a loss at his hands. The disciples of the mystic true sacred clan were stunned, and in disbelief. They didn't expect Zhao Feng to be the dark horse that had entered the demigod Forgotten Garden. This Zhao Feng's soul foundation and mastery of the Tao of the soul have already surpassed most of the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Either Tu Jusing or I have a chance of winning against him in a one-on-one fight. However, it's extremely disadvantageous in this special environment. Chen Yilin took a deep breath as he revealed a solemn and wary expression. The strength that Zhao Feng displayed was comparable to the 10 geniuses of the sacred land, and he had the advantage in this environment. Chapter 645. Purple Smoke Lake. Zhao Feng reorganized his army. In the battle just now, he had lost a lot of low-tier and middle-tier water race servants. The number of soldiers had dropped below 1,000. Zhao Feng didn't feel the pinch and wasn't in a rush to replenish his army. Right now, as he went deeper into the Purple Smoke Lake, the beasts he met became stronger. The next step is to enter the Mermaid Kingdom. No matter how many soldiers I have, I won't be able to fight against the Mermaid Kingdom. I can only take the path of elites. Zhao Feng was calm. Next, not only did he not increase the number of soldiers, he even used some to replace stronger beasts. According to Zhao Feng's plan, he wanted to reduce the number of soldiers to 300 to 500 elites, or even less. If the number was too large, it would alert the upper echelons of the Mermaid Kingdom. Just as Zhao Feng was slowly advancing. Bo! 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 The sound of water waves came from behind. Brother Zhao! The voices of Chen Yilin and the others came from a few miles away. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised. He told the army to stop advancing. Not long after, Chen Yilin, Jiang Fan, and the other core disciples came in front of Zhao Feng. Brother Chen, brothers and sisters, what can I do for you? Zhao Feng said casually. He had already noticed Chen Yilin and the others. Brother Zhao, let's work together to take down the Mermaid Kingdom. We'll split everything in front of the palace at the bottom of the lake. You get 7 and we get 3. Chen Yilin said. This time, his tone was sincere. Sure. But I have a request. Zhao Feng nodded his head. With the help of Chen Yilin, Jiang Fan, and company, Zhao Feng's speed would increase. Zhao Feng didn't dare to underestimate the 10 geniuses of the sacred land. Jiang Fan's 10,000 ancient races' bloodline power couldn't be underestimated either. Brother Zhao, you can say what you want. Chen Yilin was calm. The disciples of the mystic true sacred clan didn't show any dissatisfaction. After all, in the battle just now, Zhao Feng had used his own strength to defeat two Jusing's team of over a dozen people. His strength had shocked everyone. This battle had established Zhao Feng's reputation. Zhao Feng's personal strength, together with the marine race army, was irreplaceable. Enter the militarist mermaid kingdom. Before the palace at the bottom of the lake, listen to my commands, Zhao Feng said calmly. Hearing this, the 6 core disciples exchanged glances with each other. Zhao Feng wanted to take command and order all the true disciples present. In the past, this was not negotiable. This was because the core disciples of the mystic true sacred clan were also divided by seniority. All right. Qin Yilin's eyes flickered as he took a deep look at Zhao Feng. As soon as Zhao Feng entered the Lost Garden, he went straight to the purple smoke lake and dominated it step by step. Now, he calmly approached the Mermaid Kingdom. From this, it could be seen that he definitely had his own plan. He even had ways and confidence to gain benefits from the Mermaid Kingdom. Let's go! Zhao Feng controlled the marine army and teamed up with Qin Yilin, Jiang Fan, and Qin Yilin as they went deeper into the purple smoke lake. With the addition of Qin Yilin, Jiang Fan, and the others, Zhao Feng's speed increased. Along the way, there were some powerful marine beasts, but Zhao Feng didn't need to do anything. Qin Yilin and Jiang Fan could easily take care of them. Qin Yilin's strength was comparable to 2 Jusing's. Qin Yilin could kill some sovereign lord-level beasts with one move. Jiang Fan was even more special. Once he released the aura of his 10,000 ancient races bloodline, normal marine beasts wouldn't even be able to resist. The aura of a mythical bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races was enough to scare away some hostile groups of the water race. Therefore, the journey was extremely smooth. Zhao Feng's cursed ghost corpses also took the chance to devour sovereign and sovereign lord-level beasts. Qin Yilin, Jiang Fan, and company listened to Zhao Feng's orders. Zhao Feng wouldn't let them work for free, so he gave them 10 stalks of purple-scaled grass to make their auras more compatible with the purple smoke lake. Qin Yilin and Jiang Fan desperately wanted more purple-scaled grass. However, Zhao Feng's condition was that they had to trade for treasures of the same value. In the depths of the purple smoke lake, Zhao Feng's marine army didn't stop gathering treasures. Everything was split 70 to 30%. Zhao Feng took 70%, and Qin Yilin and company took the remaining 30%. Half a day later, some scouts from Zhao Feng's marine army found traces of the mermaid race. They've appeared. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up. He could share his vision with the targets enslaved by the Dark Heart Seal. The mermaid race was as the legend said. They had a human body and a fish tail. Their upper body, including their head, was the same as a human's, while their lower body was a fish tail. The females of the mermaid race were especially beautiful. Scatter! Zhao Feng told the marine army to scatter and cover an area of 10 miles. This way, they wouldn't attract too much attention. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, we've arrived at the Mermaid Kingdom. Why don't we collect the mermaid tear crystals first and then attack the palace at the bottom of the lake? Qin Yilin suggested. Before entering the palace, they had to listen to Zhao Feng's instructions. Senior Marshal Brother Qin has the same idea. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. After all, the palace at the bottom of the lake was the center of the mermaid race. It had been guarded for generations. If they tried to attack the palace, the upper echelons of the mermaid race would be alerted. But to collect the mermaid crystal tears, he could do it in secret. Go! Zhao Feng split his thoughts into dozens and controlled some smaller marine beasts to enter the mermaid kingdom. Some of the marine beasts and demonic fish were even skilled in disguise and concealment. Poof! The sound of battle suddenly came from the water ahead. The mermaid race. Qin Yilin's senses were very strong and he found traces of the mermaid race fighting with Zhao Feng's subordinates. It was the first time that most of the core disciples had seen the mermaid race. Zhao Feng raised his hand and stopped Jiang Fan and the others from trying. Dark Heart Seal. Zhao Feng used a soul eye bloodline technique from several miles away. Instantly, the battle ahead stopped. A while later, 2 or 3 enslaved mermaids came in front of the group and bowed at Xiao Feng's feet. These mermaids had all reached the half-step origin core realm. Qin Yilin and company were surprised. The mermaid race is very intelligent and has a certain level of talent in the soul. The pressure from using the dark heart seal is greater. Xiao Feng's heart shook slightly. He knew a lot about the mermaid race. Next, Xiao Feng used the dark heart seal to communicate with the mermaid race. Normal mermaids didn't know the human language, but apparently, the upper echelons of the mermaid race were proficient in it. A while later, let's head to the northwest, Xiao Feng suddenly said. The eyes of Qin Yilin and company lit up. Xiao Feng had definitely found out about the situation within the mermaid kingdom through the enslaved mermaid race and the whereabouts of the mermaid tear crystals. After that, Xiao Feng and company set off into the depths of the mermaid kingdom. In order to avoid alerting the mermaid kingdom, Xiao Feng left most of his army, especially the larger ones, at the edge of the mermaid kingdom. He only brought a few slaves that were small and specialized in scouting. They would occasionally meet some mermaids on the way. Some were killed by Qin Yilin and company, while others were enslaved by Xiao Feng. At this point in time, Xiao Feng had enslaved dozens of mermaids. 4 of them were at the origin core realm, and the rest were at the true spirit realm. After swimming for more than a dozen miles, they finally found the mermaid tear crystals in front of a coral reef. At the bottom of the dark lake, there were a few translucent crystal beads of different sizes. In the night, the mermaid's crystal tears were like rare night pearls. From far away, Xiao Feng felt a pure and unique soul aura that radiated an unforgettable ripple of love. These are the mermaid tear crystals? It was said that the tears shed by the mermaid clan, who were deeply in love, were the purest love in their hearts. This power can cleanse the soul and help one comprehend the void god realm king realm. Each mermaid tear crystal needs at least 500 years of accumulation. It's extremely rare. Everyone sighed and looked at it silently. The love of the mermaid race was unwavering. This was recorded in the ancient records. Several thousand years ago, the genius from the sacred land was first captured by the mermaid race, then fell in love with the mermaid princess and entered the divine palace guarded by the mermaid race. Mine! Xiao Feng told a few mermaids to mine the mermaid tear crystals. Even though they had been enslaved by Xiao Feng, these mere people instinctively shed tears of sorrow. Qin Yilin and company watched silently and didn't move. Firstly, the benefits were distributed by Xiao Feng. Secondly, the mysterious mental energy from the mermaid tear crystal made everyone immerse themselves in the purest form of love. Under this aura, everyone's heart seemed to be cleansed, and the hatred and sins in their hearts were loosened. The mermaid race is a race that has a certain level of talent in the soul, and the high-tier mermaid race has more females. That's why their tears are imbued with spiritual power. After accumulating for a long time, it has such incredible effects. Xiao Feng nodded his head. The power contained in the mermaid tear crystal wasn't very strong. It wasn't even comparable to a high-grade primal crystal stone. However, its value came from its ability to cleanse one's soul. Coincidentally, this kind of crystal-like mental energy was something that most cultivators didn't have. A while later, several mermaid tear crystals were collected. Xiao Feng didn't stay any longer and headed to the next area. Gradually, all the mermaids within 10 miles were either captured or controlled by Xiao Feng. A part of the forbidden area of the mermaid kingdom seemed to have become Xiao Feng's territory. In this situation, Xiao Feng easily collected dozens of mermaid tear crystals. This number had exceeded the harvest of 4 or 5 times the demigod Forgotten Garden had opened. In the past, very few people could collect mermaid tear crystals every time the demigod Forgotten Garden opened. Most geniuses set their sights on the 10,000 Treasure Tower, 100 Flower Garden, Demigod Tomb, and other areas. In terms of treasures, the Purple Smoke Lake wasn't as good as the 10,000 Treasure Tower. In terms of resources, it wasn't as good as the 100 Flower Garden. Furthermore, the Mermaid Kingdom's enormous power made many geniuses stop. The number of mermaid tear crystals is almost enough. Xiao Feng stopped mining. He controlled a lot of mermaids, and Qin Yilin and the others had also killed a lot along the way. It wouldn't take long before the upper echelons of the mermaid kingdom were alerted. Xiao Feng gave 2 to Qin Yilin and Jiang Fan, and 1 to the others. He left 10 to 20 for himself. No one had any objections. Some of them even started to use the mermaid tear crystals,